players and coaches never ceases to amaze me. I'm pretty happy to be an Arkansan. I was pretty happy to go to the University of Arkansas and grow up an Arkansas Razorback fan. But apparently, according to Steve Sarkisian, we hate Texas more than being Arkansas fans, which just is par for the course, I guess, when it comes to the Texas Longhorns and really the face of that university. Hey, we welcome you into the final day of SEC Media Days, live from Radio Row, presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback, Lindbergh Real Estate Team, and WT Equipment. Both Tommy and I got good amount of rest last night. I foregoed karaoke. It's the first time in 7 years I did that. But I was in bed by.
You're becoming a man.
I was tired last night.
An adult.
We ate $100 worth of barbecue. As I was telling my brother. My brother's here. He lives in Las Colinas, and that was the first place he took me to, and we ventured out to Terry Black's last night.
Yeah, we went to Terry Black's, which is not far from here, a couple miles from, maybe less than that, from the hotel in old downtown Dallas. On Old Main Street, and you sent me over to the Pecan Lodge. Now this is, what do you call it, Ellum or Deep Ellum over there?
It's Deep Ellum.
Deep Ellum. First time Ty sends me over there was spring break, Friday night. Next morning, me and my two children and my lovely wife are catching a flight out of Dallas Love Field. We needed to be there early because it was a 6 a.m. flight. We didn't want to miss it, and we managed to do that. And so we go over there at 8 o'clock, and I mean, it was a different world at that point over there. But everything was great. Food was great at Pecan Lodge. Top shelf. We went last night to Terry Black's, was just down the street, and I'm not certain it wasn't better. Really enjoyed that experience. And I got one slice of brisket and a couple of ribs, two sides. You've got a couple slices of brisket and a couple of sides.
Pinto beans, cornbread, and I did not. I know this surprises all of you, but I did not get mac and cheese like last night.
You had water. I had tea.
You missed out.
And it was $100.
That's the best macaroni I've ever had.
Is it really?
Yeah, the macaroni was
wow.
Delightful. But and I'm not complaining that it was $100. I thought it was worth it.
Well, we get to
and when I got done, I ate half a slice of brisket and one rib, and I couldn't eat anymore.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was going to make it to breakfast the next morning, or if you were.
It's still in the fridge in the room, but I mean, I'm like, wow. I mean, that was very, very good.
It was really good.
I mean, and it's just different in Texas. You just walk up to, you go through the line, you get your sides, and tell them what you want to kind of go with it, and you walk up to the counter to check out, and they just got all the meats right there, and they just slice you off what you want. You want a thicker slice of brisket? You want a thinner slice of brisket? You want, they just, what do you want? You want turkey? You want ribs? I mean, they weigh it and pile it on. And it was.
Then Tommy
really
got
good.
a tour of the back end of the restaurant.
Yeah,
where
I wanted to see the smokers.
Everything goes to work. So it was a good experience.
Yeah,
it was probably more
maybe the highlight of the trip.
Yeah, I was going to say it was maybe more entertaining than anything that has been said.
Probably
thus
better
far.
than just touring Globe Life last night.
Yeah, and I apologize for subjecting you to what a Texas football head coach had to say, but that just irked me when I heard that. And maybe it shouldn't. Maybe I should be past it. He did allude to the fact getting drilled back in 2021, which I think was just a message to Texas that we're not ready. I think 3 years later, they're much, much more equipped to navigate the SEC. Does that necessarily mean they're going to win the thing? I hope not, but it definitely played a part of them adjusting to this conference. And now we're going to see what happens in, I guess, 43 days till Arkansas football. It's about 45 till that Saturday because Arkansas opens up on the 29th on that Thursday against UAPB. But your Arkansas Razorbacks in town in Dallas, Texas today. Sam Pittman, Taylon Green, Andrew Armstrong, and Landon Jackson. Landon's going to be picked all season, all SEC, probably first team here if I had to guess. Not the same accolades for Andrew and Taylon, but is going to be as big a part of this team as Landon is, especially what the offense is going to look like with maybe that combo.
Yeah, I would imagine the team is, our coach and Landon and his teammates, Andrew Armstrong, they're on their way probably to get on the plane, be down here, an hour or so, maybe a little longer, and Coach is going to join us at 7:45 this morning. He's going to call in and route to the Omni. And then once he hits the ground, by the time we leave the air, he won't be at Radio Row. So we're going to have him by phone this morning so we can have Coach on, and looking forward to doing that real soon. So, it's Arkansas's day. It's been a while since they've been on the last day. And I think, deep in the heart of Texas is where they need to make an impact. A&M's here, Auburn and Kentucky as well. And, I'll be interested to hear what Coach has to say and how many questions he gets about, being on the hot seat a little bit this year.
Clay preached this yesterday, and he's 100% right. You think about the three guys that are accompanying Coach Pittman, all are from Texas, different parts of the state. But Landon was highly recruited, started his career at LSU. Taylor, of course, starts at Boise State. And then Andrew starts his career at Texas A&M Commerce. So one of the things Clay spoke to yesterday is Arkansas really getting back into Texas. And with the additions of Texas and Oklahoma, while it's going to be more difficult maybe getting the blue chip that wants to play in the SEC because they might pick the Sooners, the Aggies, or the Longhorns. You've got, again, an opportunity to maybe get that three-star that wanted to play closer to home a little more. Well, Norman's not far. Austin and College Station are, of course, in Texas. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how Arkansas battles in recruiting, not necessarily just the in-state kids, but the out-of-state. We were talking with Tyler McComas a little bit about losing Omarion Robinson and also Marcus Wimberly to Oklahoma commits. Again, just commits, not signees just yet, and what that could look like moving forward with the Oklahoma dynamic in this league coming into Arkansas to get kids.
Yeah, so, I like the way Clay talked about it, that it should be a benefit, not maybe a detraction for Arkansas having all of this new competition in Texas. He talked about, really hammering and working that I-59 corridor and that Beaumont area and down to Baytown, and players like Sparky Hamilton and Clint Sterner come to mind that came from that area. Maybe it raises the level of kids that want to come to the SEC. Maybe you get some diamonds in the rough, but you've got to hammer Texas. There's no question.
Mm-hmm. And continue to do that. We want you to hammer our phone lines this morning, 877-377-6963. If you have some thoughts on what you want to hear from Coach and the three guys today, what you've heard from the different coaches and players this week. There was an interesting comment made by an Alabama player, Tyler Booker, on his former coach, which I thought was pretty funny. We'll get into that and more, again, live from Radio Row here at SEC Media Days.
And our coverage brought to you by the Stadium Shop on Razorback in Fayetteville, your locally owned and operated, U of A alumni owned and operated Razorback Shop. The largest selection of all your Razorback merchandise is right there, and you can find it online at shoponrazorback.com. By WT Equipment, your New Holland dealer for over 50 years. They've earned the trust of the hardest working people in the country. Go to WTEquip.com. WT Equipment, your partner in progress. And by the Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. They'll get you a cash offer on your home in 72 hours. For all of your real estate needs, go to limbirdteam.com. All of our coverage throughout the week, you can find that archived at hitthatline.com. We'll be here through today, and the Razorbacks will be in the house a little bit later this morning.
All right, we got Chuck Barrett joining us in about 20 minutes. We've also got some Arkansas baseball news. A notable player is coming back, as Will McIntyre is. Plus, we'll get into some of what the other SEC coaches and players had to say. That's all coming up in the 6 a.m. hour of the Morning Rush.
ESPN Arkansas is kicking off college football live from Radio Row in Dallas, Texas at SEC Media Days. Our shows provide insight on player and coach interviews, including special moments throughout the entire week. Make sure to tune in to the Morning Rush, Halftime, and Ruskin and Zach to get this unique coverage presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback, WT Equipment, and Limbird Real Estate Group.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
It was a very good conversation, Ty.
This is the Morning Rush.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. West Arc Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact West Arc Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drain, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. West Arc Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call West Arc Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
And we're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
Best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
Hi, everybody. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center with the exciting news. Backed by popular demand, state sales tax paid when you trade on our huge inventory of road-ready certified vehicles. That's right. This month, get the best used car your money can buy, road-ready certified with warranty, and get your state sales tax paid when you trade. One more reason all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Do you need help with your next project? Metters Lumber True Value is here to help. A family-owned business since 1936, the staff has more than 90 years of experience in construction and the hardware business. If they don't have what you need, they know how to get it, and they are more than happy to accommodate your special order. So whether it's building a new deck, a paint project around the house, or needing a new set of tools, Metters Lumber True Value has everything you need. With locations in Alma, Ozark, and Clarksville, and you can shop online at metterslumber.com. Metters Lumber True Value.
Missing or broken teeth? Sharp Smiles wants you to start chewing again with dental implants. Scared of the dentist? Sharp Smiles will help you overcome your fear. Big dental problems? Sharp Smiles Modern Dentistry and Implants is your answer to your dental needs and services, where your smile is top priority. Get the smile you have always wanted from the friendly faces at Sharp Smiles, 2600 Market Trace, Suite B, off Jenny Lind across from Harps. For more information, visit the website at sharpsmilesdds.com or call 648-9988.
Pay attention. This happens fast. Routine, scheduled, maintenance. You know it's coming one day, but that day's in the future. Then the future comes, and your wallet's not ready for that $250 maintenance. But your forklift is. It needs it. Good thing you're smart. You're buying a used forklift from Medley Equipment Company this summer, and its first planned maintenance will be free because Medley keeps you moving.
I'm Branch Manager Dennis Mabry. Visit medleycompany.com or see us at 4001 Harper Avenue, Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Are you tired of processed meat and flimsy sandwiches? Subchain's gotten your last nerve? Then I have the place for you. Come see my buddy Josefa at Lily's Sandwich Shop in the Bakery District in downtown Fort Smith. Locally sourced meat sliced daily and fresh breads from Harvest Moon Bakery. Daily specials announced on Facebook, including the Poke Bowl every Friday and Saturday. For to-go orders, call 479-567-3403.
My name is Lily. My Baba makes the best sandwiches at Lily's Sandwich Shop. Come by and see him at the Bakery District today.
Summertime in Arkansas means pond and creek fishing, and nothing catches bass and bluegill in a pond like a Rebel crickhopper. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, and swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The crickhopper works great in tandem with light spinning rods and reels with 4 or 6 pound fishing line. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. The Rebel crickhopper.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
The sign of a smart man is to understand that things change and to roll with those changes. And Ty, I applaud that you've done that.
Talley breaks a tackle at the 20. Talley at the 40, midfield, at the UCF 40, the 30. Talley at the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Arkansas!
Please rate and review the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Give us 5 stars to help us get our content out to the rest of the Razorback family. Just search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts.
So we're going to hear from some more SEC coaches later on today. Not just Sam Pittman, but Mike Elko, new head coach of Texas A&M, Hugh Freeze, head coach of the Auburn Tigers, and also Mark Stoops of Kentucky. So we're live here at Radio Row at SEC Media Days. Tommy, not that you haven't enjoyed your week, but I think you might be more inclined to be across the pond at Royal Troon, as it's not often we have a live event during the show.
2 days a year, pretty much, in a non-Olympic year. We'll get a little bit more this year because of the Olympics. But, yeah, I was looking at the Open Championship. I was looking last night at some of the odds on the Bet Saracen app for players to win. Bryson DeChambeau probably has plummeted there this morning. Scotty Scheffler still leading the way at plus 420. Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele are both at plus 1,100. Right now at the Open Championship, and I'm just looking at the to see if I can even scroll down and find DeChambeau right now. The odds.
Let's get you some music. Let's get you some.
Oh, you need some music?
There you go.
All right. It's not so much who's at the top of the leaderboard right now at the Open at the Royal Troon. It's who's not. Bryson DeChambeau is having a horrific day, plus 6 at this point. There's still a lot of players to tee off, but got a group of players at 2 under par, led by Alex Noren. I say led by him because he's in the clubhouse and has finished his day at 2 under par. Justin Rose amongst those at 2 under par, and let's see, at last update, 6 players, and the only American amongst them. Well, now Maverick McGeely has moved in there, and Chris Kirk. 2 relatively unknowns. Tiger Woods yet to tee off. Justin Thomas had it at 4 under at one point. He's backed off to 1 under. Tony Finau lurking 1 behind at 1 under par. Russell Henley 1 under par as well. So we will keep an eye. John Rahm at even par. Some of the more notable names. Rory McIlroy also at even par this morning. Tiger Woods goes a little bit later on today, so we will keep an eye on the Open Championship.
Live from
Scotland.
Yeah, live from as we're in Dallas, Texas again. Not too.
They're wearing sweaters. The wind is blowing. It's a lovely day.
a lovely day. So yeah, we got.
They
that.
root for. I mean, we think if there's bad weather, that's if we can't play golf today. They cherish.
They kind of root for it.
They cherish bad weather.
Cherish it a little bit. Notable Arkansas baseball news. Kendall Diggs announced yesterday that he is back with Razorback baseball, and Dave Van Horn talked about that in the postseason press conference. That kind of stood out to me that he would even mention the idea of that being a possibility when he kind of leads you into something potentially a lot more kind of like the. Hey, I heard there might be 2 teams in Burnt Orange coming to Fayetteville to bomb Walker next year, like he said in one of his Swatters clubs. That generally means you're going to play Texas and Tennessee. And when maybe the indication was that Kendall had a chance to come back, I kind of got a sense, Tommy, that it was a bigger possibility than I'd originally realized. And now it's turned into reality.
Yeah, and it's all starting to kind of take shape a little bit for next year. And you get these teams, on your schedule. And I wish there was a way you could play maybe more weekend series. Dave Van Horn would probably sternly disagree with that, so you could get some more of these teams. There's a lot of things I'd change about college baseball, but we're seeing it right now. The season's barely been over, a month, 6 weeks or whatever for Arkansas, and about a month for those that made the College World Series finals. And you're trying to form your roster and get it all put together because school starts in, a month from tomorrow. So Dave's trying to figure out who's coming back, who's going to sign, go pro, all of these things that make the job even tougher.
Yeah, it is a complicated issue that Dave Van Horn is having to navigate. But that's part of what college baseball is. Speaking of tough and issues, Kalen DeBoer was on mic for the first time yesterday, the new head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and it was interesting to hear him discuss following the legend, the greatest of all time, Nick Saban. I just want you to listen kind of how he described following Coach.
I mean, there's only one Coach Saban. There will only ever be one Coach Saban. I guess I just take it as a great honor to be the one that gets to do everything we can to carry on the great tradition. Coaching football is coaching football to some aspect, and you got to try to simplify it down as difficult and complicated as you can make it. Certainly acknowledge what you said, but we're just going to focus on this team and being the best we can be and continue to build on the great tradition of Alabama football.
And I'm of the belief that they're going to take a step back. Now, when I say step back, I don't mean 7-5. I think they're going to be right around 9-3 or 10-2, which still, in today's climate, might get you in the playoff. We had a conversation with Rich Clark yesterday, Tommy, Lieutenant General and the new head of the college football playoff taking over for Bill Hancock. And like Alabama fans may be disappointed with that regular season, but there's no guarantee they're going to be locked out of the playoff with that.
No, and it haven't been before. We've seen Alabama win national titles in the 14 playoff and not be in the SEC championship game. So it is not the end of your season if you don't make your conference title game. But I thought there were some similarities, and I thought Kalen DeBoer tried to point out some similarities of how he pours into guys. Love with discipline is part of his strategy. I thought one thing that was pointed out in the questioning yesterday, and this is a culture change for him, and how does he adapt, because he's not going to change the culture of Alabama, but he's never coached south of Illinois. Carbondale, Illinois, as far as south as his resume goes. Doesn't mean he's a bad coach. I mean, look at his resume. NAIA championships, 20-plus wins in 2 years at Washington. Dude knows what he's doing. And he pointed that out in the picture. Football is football to a great degree, but I think culture is not culture. Culture is different in different pockets of our country, and how he's adapting to that. He's had 6 months on the ground in Tuscaloosa. I think he's probably, as he said, done a lot more listening than talking and trying to learn what's going on.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this with Kalen DeBoer coming from Washington, with Brent Venables, Oklahoma, the transition there. You've got a few coaches in the league that are transitioning conferences or entering their first year, like Mike Elko and Jeff Lebby. And what is more difficult to transition? Is it a coach or is it a player? And I kicked that around a little bit in my mind last night. I think just because of everything that goes with it, it's still coach. But, for example, you've got one of your own, Taylor Green, that's having to transition from Mountain West football at Boise State to SEC football. And you don't play an SEC opponent until week 4 against Auburn. So curious to see how quick he's not only able to pick up Bobby Petrino's offense, but the speed of the SEC. And I don't know if Arkansas's defense is going to be great this year, but you're going to be playing some great defenses in this league throughout the season.
Yeah, I thought one of the interesting things when he was done, they went to Saban on the set, and the SEC Network guys took over, and he pointed out, I haven't been in the building, quoting him, I haven't been in the building since the day I retired. And so there's not a long shadow being cast, at least in person, but still the reputation and the record of Saban is a long shadow being cast over DeBoer and the start of his career at Alabama. Hey, we're brought to you by the Fence Man. If you need a fence around a building, your home, your business, maybe around your farm or ranch, they can do that for you. All kinds of fencing, from wood privacy fences to vinyl fencing to custom ornamental iron installations, powered automatic gates, controlled access cars through walk-through gates or drive-through gates. They can help with all of those things. They have a custom welding shop that can make your project look great, and custom jobs do not bother them at all. 782-3936 is their number, 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Alexa, play ESPN Arkansas.
ESPN Arkansas from TuneIn.
Hey, this is Billy Ray Smith Jr., and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
I'm going to have to lean towards Ty here.
This is the Morning Rush.
Are you looking for a great deal on a previously owned vehicle but want to avoid high-pressure sales? If so, you need to visit Edwards Auto Sales in Roland.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab.
C'est bon, Sankey.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got coffee.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive in DeQueen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, Sankey.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got coffee.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as
Gary Thomas, who's a great author, or I say great author, great caricature, that's the better word,
artist
of hog tunes. He does a great job with many things Razorback related, did something of Clay, and then also Clay was gifted a bobblehead by someone else, and I want to make sure that Chuck also got that same bobblehead, or is going to get a bobblehead for himself.
I think Clay's had a bobblehead for 70 years, but that's a different conversation for another day. But I guess you're big time, Chuck, when you have your own bobblehead.
I guess so, man. That's big time for Clay. I didn't realize that had happened, to be honest with you. He's not called to brag to me about it yet, but
didn't get the text?
I'm sure that'll come at some point.
Yeah, and he's proud, and he should be proud of it. So
proud for him.
Proud for we can just dream We can only aspire to,
we can
to get our own bobblehead. Live from Radio Row, SEC Media Days, presented by the Stadium Shop, WT Equipment, and the Limbird Real Estate Group. We're also brought to you by our friends at Pradco. Summertime fishing. And guys, we're going to have better weather in the natural state for this weekend, a little bit cooler. Need to get out there with those Rebel Crick Hoppers. It is a great time to be on a pond or a creek. Nothing catches them like the Rebel Crick Hopper does. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, swim it, all of those things with an ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. Working with a light spinning rod with 4 or 6 pound line, and you're gonna have a great time with the kids, the grandkids, or just yourself at your favorite fishing hole. Find the Rebel Crick Hopper at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores everywhere. It's the Rebel Crick Hopper.
Speaking of water and fishing time, we should mention what's happened the last few days in north central Arkansas with the flooding and stuff. I know we mentioned that a little bit yesterday, and Clay was wondering if he was going to stay on with us the whole show. But if you've seen things, obviously, if you're listening on ESPN 104.3, there's a good chance it's affected you or some of your friends and family. I've just seen things on social media via pictures, via videos. It has been a brutal last couple months for north central Arkansas.
Man, when you get 11 inches of rain in a few hours' time, it's going to cause some problems. And along the Buffalo River, there at Yellville, our friend Kyle Parkinson, who handles media relations with the University of Arkansas, I texted him yesterday from here. He'll be down here this morning. His family, that's home base for Kyle, Chuck. And I was watching that video of the water pouring over the guardrails and ripping through their downtown area there in Marion County. And I know along the Buffalo and down towards Mountain View and then into the White River, it was a scary scene yesterday.
It's interesting. It just blows my mind that they had that much rain in that amount of time. It was, it was a rainy day in Fayetteville, but not anything, particularly heavy or anything like that. Just rain here and there. And someone said, "Man, it rained 11 inches over there." And I'm like, "How did that happen?"
Yeah.
But that's really a bad deal.
Yeah, it certainly was. So, I mean, watching videos there, Mountain View and south of people's RVs and campers and stuff floating down the river. I mean, that's scary stuff right there. And I've been through some of that before. Fortunately, over at the Norfolk, Clay said we had about 4 inches of rain over there. The Norfolk River, I mean, the water's backing up from the White into the Norfolk, but it's not causing any issues. And the lake's at a level that it could handle more. But that lake's not rising because it captures in the watershed from really southern Missouri and West Plains area. But Bull Shoals really hadn't come up. All of it kind of fell below the watersheds of the White River system, but all that rain that fell in the Buffalo flows into the White, and that's where a lot of the problems have been caused along the river's edge.
Yep. Just know we're thinking about you. ESPN 104.3 across the many cities that Tommy just listed. I just wanted to make sure that we talked about that a little this morning. So Arkansas is not necessarily going to be on the front of the conversation, but it was for a couple head coaches this week asked about the rivalry. Steve Sarkisian, Eli Drinkwitz. We'll start with Drink. Here's what he said specifically about the rivalry in Arkansas.
Yeah, I don't think anything's changed. I know in Arkansas, obviously when I used to live there, there's deep rivalry towards the University of Texas and understand it from that standpoint. But for our program and our state and what we're trying to build, obviously Arkansas and the Battle Line Trophy is a big deal for us and it's very important. And, disappointed obviously for us last year that our actions got out of control and that's not a reflection of who we want to be. And obviously I've got to do a better job of coaching in that situation.
Guys, I realize that Arkansas fans deeply, deeply want to beat Texas, and I understand that. And I again, the November 16th game will probably be more heavily attended than any home game this fall. But I would almost say that Missouri game's more important. And I don't think, and we've talked about this before. I mean, Drinkwitz cares deeply about that game because his ties to Arkansas, I just mentioned. But Arkansas, since they have entered the league in 2012, and I'm speaking of the Tigers, they've just not cared about that game. And that's why you've only beat them twice since they've joined the league. And if that continues, then Arkansas football is probably going to be on the same path that they are right now.
I think one of the things that's been really hard for our fan base, me and everybody else to accept over the last 10 years has been Missouri's been better than we've been.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ty, just because fans don't care about it doesn't mean players don't care about it. Missouri's beaten Arkansas because they've been better than Arkansas. Not because Arkansas's players didn't care about the game. Not because Arkansas's coaches didn't care about the game. May not be at the top of the fans list, but I can tell you the players and the coaches have cared about that game. I think sometimes when you get beat, we forget to give credit to the other guys. And, I mean, Missouri's dominated this thing. And, we talk about rivalries and Texas. And one of the things that makes Texas exciting is the last time we played them, we beat them. I mean, beat their brains in. Mm-hmm. And so people remember that. Texas is different now. But if these things are going to be rivalries, whether it's Missouri, whether it's Texas, whether it's Oklahoma, whether it's anybody, both sides have got to win games. Both sides have got to win games. And I think probably from just a fan's perspective, losing to Missouri is really frustrating because that's a team that you feel like you should beat, that you need to be better than. It's one of the M schools. And Arkansas needs to be above the M schools. Yeah. And, so it is frustrating when you lose that game. I will say this, though. Both these games are in November. We always played Texas third Saturday in October. Last time we played them, it was in September. It's going to be in November, middle of November this year. Missouri, of course, is always at the end. So much depends upon what you have to play for when you get there. We don't know what either one of these teams is going to look like when we get there.
That's right.
If it was a September ball game, like it was the last time Arkansas played Texas, well, all the summer conversation would be warranted because the game's coming up. It was basically like the Oklahoma State game is this year. Now it's going to be in November, and you got to make sure you're still standing by the time you get there because, of course, Texas has been – this week it's made it sound like, Texas is going to be – they're going to beat everybody 100-0, based on what you hear this week. So, but in all seriousness, it is going to be different. The schedule is different, and the mood is not going to be in November. It may be better than it is now. It may not be as good. We just don't know.
Yeah, and you don't know what you're playing for then. One thing we do know, and I'm going to make a presumption here that the game is not going to move back to Friday in years past. We know this year it will be on Saturday, and I feel like it will stay a Saturday game moving forward. But, I just wonder how that changes the preparation. I've always thought, particularly if you're the one that had a little more to play for it, just that sped up, hurried week didn't always play to your benefit. And I'm not saying that's why Arkansas has lost these games, so don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm just saying, if you're trying to catch your breath and you're a little short-handed and you're banged up, does that extra day really, maybe benefit where Arkansas has been the last few years?
I think it benefits both teams. I hate the Friday game after Thanksgiving, and I'll tell you why. Because Thursday's Thanksgiving. It's not like a normal week. You can play on a Friday in a normal week when Thursday's not Thanksgiving, and you're playing one day sooner. But you think about it in that Thanksgiving week, you're not taking Thursday off, but it is different. There's no doubt about it. Thanksgiving, everyone knows it's Thanksgiving Day. And you've got Thanksgiving dinner, and you've got all kinds of, these kids are away from home. It's just different. I'm glad that it's going back to Saturday. That's just my opinion. I know from a fan's perspective, people might feel differently, and everybody's got their own opinion, but I'm glad it's going back to Saturday.
And that was what we heard from Eli Drinkowitz on the rivalry between Missouri and Arkansas. What about what Steve Sarkisian, we're talking about how there's been a lot of love for Texas since they joined the SEC. What did he have to say about the Arkansas rivalry?
First of all, I'd like to play better than we played in 2021. We did not play very good in that ball game, and it's a great environment. I jokingly say this, and I feel like when you go to Arkansas, that I almost at times feel like they hate Texas more than they like themselves. So that's a real rivalry. That's when you know you're in a real rivalry. And I know so much has been made of us getting to play A&M again, but the fact that we get to play Arkansas again is awesome.
First off, that kind of ticked me off when I heard that live. Second, I don't know what Texas is. Like you were talking about the importance for Arkansas to have something to play for, and you're 100% right, Chuck. But I just, with A&M being back on their schedule, They still have Oklahoma. They've got another game or two that they probably are going to put above Arkansas. I just still don't think that they're going to show up 100% that game. And I know that's way off in November, and I know what Sark just said publicly. I just can't see Texas ever getting up for Arkansas like Arkansas is going to get up for Texas in that game.
We're just going to have to see where the teams are in November. I mean, there's a lot of games that are going to be played before then.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear what you're saying as far as these games go. I'm going to take a little different view. I know you guys have been kind of on the ground, so to speak, there in Dallas. I've been watching a lot of it. Nick Saban is more dominant in terms of being an SEC personality now than ever before. I can just tell you guys, I don't know what it's been like there, but from an observer standpoint, the star of the week, the star of stars this week, has been Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And his coverage. You can tell ESPN, I mean, they got big. I don't know how much you guys have talked about this week. If I'm being a broken record, you can cut me off. But you can tell that ESPN has big plans for Nick Saban. And he's going to be up to every single one of them. He has been more dominant this year in terms of SEC football than any of the 17 years he coached Alabama, because he's been on all day, every day. Whereas when he was the head coach, he was just there one day. From a fan's perspective, nobody this week has said anything particularly interesting. I don't know how else to put it.
No.
And I'm not saying it's a wash. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that I've not heard one single coach so far say really one interesting thing. And the players, and I just know this because every plane that's flying down there this morning and every plane that's flown down there this week, throughout the entire flight, the players are being coached on what to say and what not to say. Do not go into this area. Avoid this at all costs. Make sure you emphasize this. Be sure and say that. So media days to me has become about the media personalities that cover it. I don't know that it should be that way, but it is. And Saban, to me, has been the star this week, and I didn't really anticipate that, to be honest with you.
Is he a media personality now?
Or is he above
that? Is he above and beyond?
Oh,
See,
well.
I don't lump him in with anybody else that's got even though he didn't have his credential, I just don't lump him in with the same group.
I don't think he's going to be staying on the regular media floor. I don't think he's going to.
He tried to break into Wally's room.
Yeah, but that was a day room, boys. Yeah. That was a day room. He wasn't going to spend the night there. That was a day room.
That's funny.
And I guarantee if he was going to be, spending the night that day, he'd have had a suite.
Well,
but to your question, he's not part of the working press.
You know what?
He's not a journalist now.
It is funny you bring him up because I have not turned on the television. Did we ever figure out the SEC network is in the hotel?
It is not on the
understand.
You cannot watch the SEC network.
Which is wild.
I get you.
But I've been in that room for virtually every coach at this point. And when he's been there back on that set, I have found myself interested in just panning my neck and turning my neck and looking at, does he give any reaction at all? And he has given none. But he's turned his chair and watched some. He's taken notes. He is an active participant. And, I'm interested in what he thinks. And after Kalen DeBoer spoke yesterday, I stood close enough within earshot just to hear his immediate reaction live on television that I could hear for myself, and because that's what I wanted to know, what he think about it.
At some point, he's going to say something that makes people mad. It's just inevitable. It's just inevitable. You when you got that much airtime, you're going to say something along the way that makes somebody upset. So that's going to happen to him, but it hasn't happened yet. And right now, everybody's hanging on every word that he says.
So we had Brett Norsworthy on yesterday, Chuck, and Stats, and he brought up something that I thought was hilarious and I didn't think about. Game day will be in Tuscaloosa at the end of September when Georgia comes to town. What if Saban picks Georgia? Are they going to boo him?
He's not going to pick Georgia.
You think he picks out? Well, he didn't pick Alabama in the SEC championship game. He picked Georgia and Texas, which I found kind of interesting, but it is going to be a different dynamic. I thought it was funny because I'm like you. I've listened to coaches all week. Lane Kiffin didn't say anything interesting. I know obviously he's in a different circumstance with losing his father. Smart's a dud. He's a really good coach, but he's a dud. There was nothing yesterday, but you did hear a comment or two from a player. And you bring up Nick Saban. One of his former players, Tyler Booker, had something interesting to say about him. And it was kind of tongue-in-cheek. It was a little sarcastic, but it was still quite funny. Take a listen.
He would get mad at me if I felt the way about what he said, because he always used to say, don't let some guy that live in their mom's basement determine how you feel. So I'm not going to let a guy who play golf all day determine how I feel.
It's interesting how an ESPN's really good. How by having Saban on just nonstop, it subconsciously controls the narrative. I'm going to guess every player who was there, or I say every player, the players from Alabama who were there, I would be willing to guess every one of them got asked 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 questions about what it was like to play for Nick Saban. All that's a product of the narrative. There are points in the media days where the SEC network gets these players one-on-one. My guess would be 2, 3, 4 questions about playing for Nick Saban. Probably more questions about playing for Nick Saban than playing for Kalen DeBoer, the current coach. And I'm not knocking ESPN for it, but it's been very apparent this week what they are doing. Saban's been the star, and people are being questioned about Saban. You know you're a star when you're a media guy, and other media people are asking other people about you. And that's where Saban is right now. And so I don't mean to overplay the subject, but that's been really interesting to me this week, to watch just how good ESPN is at setting the narrative for everybody who's attending.
And for me being here, sitting in that room, the element of him sitting in the back of the room as the head coach is speaking at the front of the room. I mean, from Sankey on down, there's been at least a subtle mention of that all along the way. And to me, I have enjoyed observing that element of media days, having Saban on the desk in the back and the coach speaking in the front. I think it's been intriguing.
I bet you're not the only one who, when someone has said something even borderline interesting or controversial from the dais, you've probably turned to look to see what Saban's reaction was. And I'm going to guess that's happened multiple times. Yeah.
He's dipped on his coffee a little more.
Hey, Saban's going to be getting paid for his reactions now. Don't think you're just going to be able to turn over there when he's off camera and he's going to give you a show. He's got to wait until the lights are on for that.
Even when DeBoer or anyone else has given him praise, no reaction. No one's giving him criticism, of course, but even when he's gotten the highest of praise, nothing. And I thought, what little bits I've been able to hear in the clips from him, he's been adamant, Chuck, and you've seen this probably better than we, because we don't get to watch it. He's went above and beyond to be clear that he's not been in that building. He's not influencing that program on a daily basis. He's available if they need him, but it's almost like he's
floating above it.
It's like he's on the stand at a trial and he's trying to adamantly make his case. I'm not going in that building every day,
But he is. I think the word is omnipresent. I mean, his presence is there 24/7. You feel it. You can't drive within an hour of Tuscaloosa and not feel it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they feel all, because look, and just from an individual personal standpoint, how can you not admire Kalen DeBoer a little bit? It takes a guy with a lot of confidence to say, yeah, I'll follow Nick Saban, because it's not like he was poor out there coaching at Washington. It's not like he wondered how he was going to make his mortgage payment next month. He agreed to take that task, and his every movement is going to be compared to Saban's. And my guess would be, in all sincerity, Saban's a decent man, and he understands coaches and he understands football programs, and he's smart enough to know that he really doesn't need to be around there right now. It's not fair to Kalen DeBoer for Saban to be in that building. The shadow's big enough without him actually being there.
Yeah, I think about if we bring back to Fayetteville, and again, this isn't the best example. It's the one I think about. You've talked about like Bobby Petrino growing up in a coaching household, and the fact that he knows the protocols and the directives and like the pecking order is the better term. And like with him,
Sam Pittman's the same way.
Yeah, yes, and so
he's from a coaching family too,
correct.
And most of these guys are.
Yeah, and so with Petrino coming in, I think people just, some fans assumed is like, well, it's going to be his team. It's like, no, he's going to follow what he's learned over the 40, 30 years of coaching or whatever it's been. And like you're alluding to with Nick Saban, he doesn't want to, if I had to guess, if DeBoer calls him, he's going to answer and get advice,
sure.
but it's not going to be what you said, unsolicited. He's not just going to call DeBoer out of the blue, you need to do this, you need to do that. Yeah. He's going to have an open line, but it's not going to be one where he forces a call first, because that gets messy.
That would
sticky.
never happen. And that's only someone who's never been around it would think that anything like that might happen. And I don't mean that to sound condescending. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
Nothing like that would ever happen.
Well, aren't you glad the sun's up now, Tommy, for the last and final?
You guys are basking,
Are you looking at Chuck's looking at
shades, man.
You have no idea. We are obviously facing the east from our broadcast post, and as the sun rises, about this time every morning, I think we have gotten, from this perspective, the worst seat in the house.
Chuck, I'm not kidding.
You guys are going to have to move up. You got to get to the side that faces away from the sun.
I have a good relationship with the lady.
Evidently not.
This is the office, but this year
I don't think they factored this in.
I must have ticked her off. But yes,
just because she says thanks for calling, Ty, doesn't mean you have a good relationship.
Well, she said, and I quote, "I want to try and get y'all a great seat." Well, I can't
Our
see what
seat's fine, except for about a 2-hour period each day, which happens to be when we're on the air.
No, hey man, you guys are right there in the middle of all of it.
And we've also been very lazy, Chuck. Like Tommy was in his car last night. Did you get the sunglasses out of your car?
No.
Okay,
no.
I didn't
I'd
go
rather
get mine
complain.
either.
I'd rather. I mean, why solve the problem when I can complain about it?
Complain on the radio, yeah.
That ruins the whole bit. So, all right, we're live on Radio Row. Sun blinding us in the eye, and yesterday we played the Here Comes the Sun.
We're troopers.
We should be playing that now. The Stadium Shop has brought us our coverage all week long. Shop on Razorback.com for their website to get all your gear for the season. By the Lindbergh Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. Get a cash offer in 72 hours. Go to LindberghTeam.com. And by our friends at WT Equipment, 0% financing, bonus discounts, huge cashback offers, and free add-ons right now. Hey, they've been earning the trust of the hardest working people in the country for over 50 years with New Holland tractors. See them at WT Equipment. Find a location near you at WTEquip.com. WT Equipment, they are your partner in progress.
Hour 2 includes our buddy Tom Murphy live and Coach Sam Pittman. Stay with us.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Work now, pay later with sizzling savings at WT Equipment. No money down, no interest, and no payments until 2025 on select New Holland equipment. Choose 0 for 60 or up to 10,000 cash back, plus free net wrap on roll belt round balers. 0 for 72 or up to 10,000 cash back on mid-range tractors, or 0 for 72 plus an additional 2,000 cash back on a new compact. Work smarter with no money down, no interest, and no payments on your choice of the summer's hottest deals at WT Equipment, your partner in progress.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Summertime in Arkansas means pond and creek fishing, and nothing catches bass and bluegill in a pond like a Rebel Crick Hopper. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, and swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The Crick Hopper works great in tandem with light spinning rods and reels with 4 or 6 pound fishing line. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. The Rebel Crick Hopper.
This is the Morning Rush.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
Presented by Sharp Equipment. Get hooked on Sharp Equipment this year. Sharp Equipment has hooked up with Eastern Oklahoma Guide Service for a free guided fishing trip with the purchase of any Wacker Newson equipment. Along with getting a superior piece of equipment, you will get hooked up with a free guided fishing trip for the chance at a catch of a lifetime. Visit them at Sharp Equipment, 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or call them at 479-242-1406.
There's more to a tractor than just horsepower. A tractor also needs weight to get that horsepower to the ground. With TYM, a heavier tractor comes standard. Many of the TYM models weigh more for the horsepower than comparable tractors from the big names, and tractors that weigh more do more. See Bush Tractor at their new location at 6100 South Zero in Fort Smith, or log on to bushtractor.com to see how they can upgrade your productivity.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Hey, this is Dr. Charlie Liggett with River Valley Smile Center. We dial 782-8940.
Coach Todd Holland, head baseball coach of the University of Arkansas Fort Smith Lions. I call 782-8940.
Stay cool this summer with a York high-efficiency HVAC unit. Or for more information on endless hot water and high-efficiency tankless water heaters, give us a call at 782-8940.
That's 782-8940.
Come on along, head for the mountains of Bushfield. Head for the mountains, it's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Bushfield. Head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush. Like me.
Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022. Anheuser-Busch, Busch, and Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, everybody. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center with exciting news. Backed by popular demand, state sales tax paid when you trade on our huge inventory of road-ready certified vehicles. That's right. This month, get the best used car your money can buy, road-ready certified with warranty, and get your state sales tax paid when you trade. One more reason all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, we will see periods of sunshine across the north, some showers and thunderstorms across the south, highs today in the lower 80s. Everybody dries out tonight, low to mid 60s, and then sunshine Friday, a high into the lower 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Come Get You Some, Arkansas's premier off-road superstore. Call 782-MUD today. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 42 days. This hour of the Morning Rush is brought to you by Farm Credit. From farms to land, livestock, equipment, and more, Farm Credit finances it all. Learn more at myaglender.com.
First of all, I'd like to play better than we played in 2021. We did not play very good in that ball game, and it's a great environment. I jokingly say this, and I feel like when you go to Arkansas, that I almost at times feel like they hate Texas more than they like themselves. So that's a real rivalry. That's when you know you're in a real rivalry. And I know so much has been made of us getting to play A&M again, but the fact that we get to play Arkansas again is awesome.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Bush Light Studios. Heard all across ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Hit that line.
This is the Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
You're in need of a serious attitude adjustment, young man. You better get your priorities straight.
Produced by Christian Johnston.
In spite of the juvenile snickers of some, this is a serious matter.
Good morning, gentlemen. Let me rephrase that. You got two gentlemen. You got one ain't earned it yet, has he?
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
It's
All right, we get into hour number 2 of the Morning Rush live from Radio Row with 2 guests coming up. You've got Tom Murphy at 7:20, and you've got Coach Sam Pittman around 7:45. So I know everyone's intrigued to hear what Coach Pittman has to say, not just with us, but with the media session that he'll have, not just one, but several later on. We'll be giving you coverage all day long and tomorrow and through next week as well of not just Sam Pittman, but Taylon Green, Andrew Armstrong, and Landon Jackson. And we'll do more on that, but I do want to talk about an event earlier this week with Chuck coming up in just a bit.
Live from Radio Row, presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback in Fayetteville, by WT Equipment, your partner in progress, and by the Limbird Real Estate Group. Find them at limbirdteam.com. Coach Sam Pittman will join us here on the Morning Rush en route to the Omni Hotel. Guys, we'll talk to him in about 45 minutes or so.
Excited to talk about that. Chuck, Tommy and I were kicking around the idea of either going to the Home Run Derby or the All-Star game earlier this week.
We didn't either.
We did not go to either. But I was watching the All-Star game with Paul Skeen starting, and I was locked in on Tuesday night.
Chops the first one that he sees down the ball and go to Sankey to finish up this inning. We got to see it, and Skeens made it a short visit. Libby loves it, and America probably starting to love this guy right here.
Libby loves it. That's the best part of that quote right there. But we hadn't gotten a chance to ask you about that just yet. What did you think of Skeens in his All-Star game debut on Tuesday night?
Well, it was a sterling inning of work.
Yeah.
And
16 pitches.
It's it's an exhibition. My God, the uniforms.
They were horrible.
I mean, it was like watching a City League softball.
No, it was like
game.
watching the 80s Padres and Astros play each other.
It was
horrible.
But I'm sure that I am certain that the players loved him. I'm certain they did.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was, I don't know, it was an interesting week.
Forgive me for I don't remember the third batter of the inning, but that last pitch was inside to walk him to bring Aaron Judge to the plate. I almost wondered in that moment, did he walk that guy on purpose so he could see Judge, which ended in a one-pitch at bat with the chopper to third, which was disappointing because that was the matchup people wanted to see was Aaron Judge, Paul Skeens. It was a bunch to do about nothing, but I almost wondered with that pitch so far inside, did he do that on purpose so he could have Aaron Judge at least once?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, sometimes you get into a count where at that point against a good hitter, you're better off just walking him and taking a chance with the next guy, even though it might be Aaron Judge. But I'm not sure what his thinking was there. But yeah. That's a couple of big dudes. Number one.
That's what everybody wanted to see, though.
You're right.
Was that and you knew you were only going to have one chance because Judge batted fourth, so
Maybe
for the AL. So, but I mean, in a interleague game or some other postseason opportunity, maybe down the line, that would be interesting to see that occur. Maybe 2 or 3 times in the course of a regular outing.
I'd like to see it continue, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Also, other baseball news: Kendall Dick's coming back to school. Got that announcement yesterday, and we talked about Will McIntyre earlier this week. So Arkansas getting their roster a little more solidified.
They, they didn't get killed in the draft, whether it be the current guys or the signees. They actually came out of this in pretty good shape, I think.
Yeah, they got the is it great? I think it's Greger, and then Jackson's little brother Carson's going to sound like go to the University of Arkansas as well. So there's a couple of guys you didn't know about. I think it's just one or two guys that are just going to stay in the draft. So
Yeah, getting the Wiggins kid out of Roland, Oklahoma is big deal and locking him in. So
yeah, he was drafted, I think, 69th overall by the Chicago Cubs. So, yeah, I know that Dave Van Horn's probably happy about that to get those guys to campus. Back to football here. So, again, we're live at Radio Row in Dallas at SEC Media Days. I want to play these Tyler Bucket comments one more time. Again, this is a former Nick Saban player, now playing under Kalen DeBoer. I want to tie that into Arkansas. If you missed it last segment, here's what he jokingly said. Again, this is not for real, but he jokingly said about his former coach.
He would get mad at me if I felt the way about what he said, because he always used to say, don't let some guy that live in their mom's basement determine how you feel. So I'm not going to let a guy who play golf all day determine how I feel.
So the reason I play that again is because I think it's important for Arkansas kids, Talon, Andrew, Landon Jackson, because Arkansas is probably going to get picked 13th or 14th today. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what Tommy thinks. It doesn't matter what any of us think here sitting at Radio Row. And you heard, again, the advice that Nick Saban told his former player. I hope Coach Pittman, I would guess he is, I would hope that he's telling his guys and has been telling his guys, you know what, we're not going to be picked high. There's not going to be a lot of news about you. There's not going to be a lot of hype about you. And it doesn't matter. They were picked high last year, picked third in the West. And we saw how it played out. I'm going to come from that perspective when it comes to this season, that I hope he's really, really preaching on that heading into this year.
Well, respectfully to Nick Saban, I mean, that's not, the voice of God right there, offering that advice. I mean, that's coaches have been telling kids this since the advent of message boards, 25 years ago. And they were telling them to, block out whatever the, talk radio or whatever it was before that. They used to get on talk radio all the time. Now it's social media. So, no, I think that's always a message when you're picked, or, people don't think you're going to be good.
It's like, don't read your press clippings when you're going to be good, and then don't worry about the message boards when you're perceived to not be any good.
Yeah. I think that's a universal message, though, Ty. And again, I'm not being disrespectful to Saban, but he's only probably the 1,000th coach that said that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I think that's a universal message and has been for 25 years.
Yeah, and really, you can't weigh too much of the opinion of anyone when it's July the 19th today, 18th today, and the games. We're contemplating and talking about games in November and what they mean. I mean, we can be pretty good, guys, but I don't think we can really forecast what a game's going to be like in 100+ days.
Lots of times conversation in the summer goes one of two ways. We're either going to be really good, and everyone overestimates how great things are going to be, or we're just going to be awful. And I don't even know if the coach is going to make it to Halloween. It's time to fire somebody. Generally, that's, you're in one of two camps when you're in July. And then the season begins, and everybody forgets what everybody said anyway.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it works.
All right, Sam Pittman coming up at 7:45. Stay with us here on the Morning Rush. We're brought to you by the Inn at the Mill. Those games won't be long. I mean, 40 days away to the start of the season, a little bit longer before the first trip to Fayetteville for many of you that are coming in from all parts of the state. The Inn at the Mill is where we encourage you to stay. It's where we stay when we need a room in Northwest Arkansas. Big, oversized suites, convenient location, whether you're going to campus or you're going to the AMP for a concert or you're going to Crystal Bridges or any other main attraction in Northwest Arkansas. The Inn at the Mill is close by. 479-443-1800. They're just off the Johnson exit. That's exit 69 off I-49. You'll love the location, you'll love the rooms, and you'll love the customer service and the personal attention you get. 443-1800 or inatthemill.com.
All right, when we return, we got our Morning Rush daily question, again, live from Radio Row SEC Media Days in Dallas.
ESPN Arkansas is kicking off college football live from Radio Row in Dallas, Texas at SEC Media Days. Our shows provide insight on player and coach interviews, including special moments throughout the entire week. Make sure to tune in to the Morning Rush, Halftime, and Ruskin and Zach to get this unique coverage. Presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback, WT Equipment, and Limbird Real Estate Group.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Everybody, woo pig suey.
This is the Morning Rush.
Waiting on someone to bale your hay? Come in to Gray Brothers Equipment and let us show you how affordable only your own Kubota hay equipment can be. Bale your hay when it's ready, not when it's burned up. With economical pricing at Gray Brothers and affordable interest rates from Kubota, this year is the year to bale your own hay. That's Gray Brothers Equipment in Fort Smith and Poto, where if you pick orange, you'll never get a lemon.
Are you ready to indulge in an unforgettable fine dining experience? Then come join us at Uncorked, where every meal is a masterpiece, crafted with the finest ingredients to tantalize your taste buds. And with our extensive selection of cocktails, wine, craft beer, and bourbons, we've got something for everyone. So why not take a break from the ordinary and join us on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodi's? Come savor the moment with us at Uncorked, where every visit is a celebration.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Dial Rod and Reels. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
The paint store in Van Buren is still the place to go to when doing the job right really matters. Our unique line of Richards paint products was chosen by me to perform for you. This is Sue, and my 35 years of experience ensures you get the right paint and the right color. That's important to you and me. Thank you for your support. Come see what I'm talking about. 1414 Fayetteville Road, the paint store, Van Buren.
Hi, everybody. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center with exciting news. Backed by popular demand, state sales tax paid when you trade on our huge inventory of road-ready certified vehicles. That's right. This month, get the best used car your money can buy, road-ready certified with warranty, and get your state sales tax paid when you trade. One more reason all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Nothing says summer fun like fishing with a Thill Bobber with the family. America's favorite floats by Thill are available in a variety of sizes and colors. These premium balsa wood floats are made by the thousands at Pradco in Fort Smith, Arkansas. They are great at detecting the slightest bites by fish and work great in tandem with crickets and redworms. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. America's favorite floats by Thill.
This is Chuck Fawcett with Chuck Fawcett Realty. When I have an HVAC problem or a plumbing problem, I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940. Blaylock Heating and Air.
So to have a red truck rolling your way today, give us a call. That's Blaylock Heating and Air Conditioning for all of your heating, cooling, plumbing, and drain cleaning needs and great York Home products. It's just one number you need to know. That's 782-8940.
Hey, this is Ty Richardson for Jake Neal and his team at Jerry Neal's Barbecue. Jake's dad, Jerry, started cooking barbecue at Jerry Neal's in 1977, and Jake took over and has been doing the same thing ever since. I got ribs the last time I was there. Woo! Man, they were good. Don't forget about the catfish either. It's cooked to order, so it's hot and fresh every single time. The best catfish in the River Valley. Jerry Neal's Barbecue, Catfish, and Catering, 1823 Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. It's time for the Morning Rush Daily Question.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess.
I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
The court will wait for an answer.
Been a lot of questions this week at SEC Media Day. Sam Pittman's going to answer some of those a little bit later on. He'll join us on the Morning Rush at 7:45, 9:35 on the SEC Network here at SEC Media Days is when he'll be in the main room. Question's pretty straightforward this morning, guys. I'm going to put the microphone in everyone's hands. You can call or text and give us your question. Chuck, I'll start with you. You get one question today for Sam Pittman. You'll get many more over the course of the year, but, what would you ask today?
How was your summer?
Okay. Ty, what was your question today?
Mine would be when did he know for sure that Taylor Green was going to be a starting quarterback? I'm just kind of, if there was a moment, if there was a progression, if he just kind of understood after a week or two that this is my guy. I think Bobby Petrino had a good idea. It's ultimately the head coach's decision, but I'd kind of lean into that a little bit.
Offensive line's where you should always ask Sam Pittman a question, right? I mean, that's his area of expertise. He's got new guys at left and right tackle. I want to hear more from him about his offensive line. So that's where I would probably go with my questioning.
I think that, just generally speaking, if you look at the team and if you were to sit down with him one-on-one, once you got past the how was your summer and you started talking about his team,
I knew you'd come around.
Clearly that's the area where but it's not just for Arkansas, guys. I mean, there's only 2 or 3 teams right now that feel good about where they are on the offensive line in our league because the defensive lines are so good. And the defense of the front sevens, everybody's so good on the other side of the ball, or seemingly anyway. And I think it's that way for every football team out there. That's the group that allows you to control the tempo of the game.
All right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm basically done.
All right, that's your Morning Rush Daily question. It is brought to you by our friends at APAC Arcola. They have immediate openings in Boone, Marion, Baxter, Benton, and Washington counties. If you're a diesel mechanic, you're a licensed CDL driver, concrete finisher, you've got experience with asphalt or concrete, they've got jobs for you. They construct all the roads, many of the roads right here in Northwest Arkansas. And if you'd like a great job with a great company that offers top pay, benefits that include retirement, insurance, and profit sharing, apply online now at jobs.crh.com. That's jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola is an equal opportunity employer.
All right, let's talk to Brian, who's in Ozark this morning. Brian, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Just here in Dallas trying to get through this sun.
Right. Well, I think we're all looking forward to November the 19th to begin with. But, I just want to start off. It's really cool to me to turn the radio on now and hear your show, or whether it's Zach and Rustin, or whether it's Phil and Matt, because everybody's talking about the same thing. Everybody's talking about Texas now, how good they're going to be. The same thing that I was saying last year when people were laughing, saying Texas will never amount to anything in the SEC. Where are those callers now? They're not calling in now laughing. And I love that. I know you don't. I know that y'all are Razorback fans, and it would take a miracle for Arkansas to beat Texas this year. Texas is about 4 deep at every position. So
all it takes is hold on. All it takes is one injury, and that game changes. Quinn Ewers has never been healthy in his college career through a full season, Brian, and there's nothing you can say to detract from that. And I've been open. I think he's the best quarterback in this league. But Arch Manning's not. He's not even close. He's not ready to go on the road in the SEC. So this idea that they're 4 deep at every position is BS, because they're not. All it takes is one injury to an injury-riddled quarterback, and their dynamic and their season changes. And that game on November the 16th, not the 19th, the 16th changes. And then, listen, I don't want Texas to be good. I hope I'm wrong, but I do think they're going to be good. We'll have to wait and see on that. As far as like our listeners and callers, I don't know how they feel 100% about the season. I think they're on the idea that this might be a bowl team. It might not be, but I know they're going to be excited for November the 16th.
I'll tell you who ought to be angry this week. I won't use the word I was going to say there. I'll tell you who ought to be angry this week. It's Oklahoma fans. All anybody's doing is talking about Texas. Nobody's talking about Oklahoma. Everybody's talking about Texas. It's been like a Longhorn pep rally down there all week. It's like a coronation. And, Oklahoma's got a pretty good tradition too. And it's, Oklahoma's coming into the league. But it's all about Texas. And I'm not ready to say this is going to be a championship season for Texas. I want to see them go through this schedule. These aren't one-off games anymore. You're playing a big game and a bowl game every week. You're going to have to learn to go through that.
And that's what Sark talked about yesterday is it's the grind of every week in the SEC. And let's also not forget they play Michigan, the defending national champion,
and they'll beat
in their
Michigan.
second game.
They'll beat Michigan. That's a one-off game. That's a one-off type game. You're not playing them in the middle of October or the 1st of November after you played 6 weeks of conference play. You're getting them early in the year. Michigan's got a new coach. If Texas doesn't go to the Big House and win by 2 or 3 touchdowns, I don't know that Texas is ready to win the SEC.
All right, we've got plenty to discuss. Sam Pittman coming up in about 25 minutes from now, and we chat with Tom Murphy live here from Radio Row this morning. It's always good to check up with our friend Tom.
Tom Murphy is brought to you by the Arkansas Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
So we were just talking about, we had Brian in Ozark call in, Tom, and he was just giving all these different praises for Texas, and now they're 4 deep in every position, and Chuck pointed out that Oklahoma hasn't really gotten any love this week. Why has that been the case, in your opinion? Why have the Sooners not gotten any respect from anybody this week?
That's a great point. I mean, there's been a lot of questions asked about them and stuff, but, yeah, a lot more chatter on Texas. And, of course, OU won the game last year.
Yes, that should be point. And has won the majority in the last 10 years.
Yeah, we were watching that game somewhere in Mississippi, if I remember right. Olive Branch area, Mississippi. We were watching that game, which, it was an upset. But I guess because Texas made the playoff, Texas has got Sark, a Saban guy, and, OU had a much better year, but Brent Venables' first year was not good. And so I had a lot of trouble sorting out the teams after about 4th when I did my projected order of finish. And you think about the mix of teams in that batch around 4th down to about 10th. It's like it's Oklahoma and A&M and Auburn, good teams, but I don't know how you sort them all out. It was really tough for me to sort out the real middle of the pack in the conference. So OU maybe not as many stars and not as much hype as Texas, and here we are in Dallas too, so that plays a role.
You mentioned Saban there. Which former assistant, do you think has the most to gain? Is it Smart, or do you think Sark or Kiffin or someone else?
The most to what?
With him departing and not being in the league anymore. Who has the most to gain?
Well, Kirby obviously had started winning and beating Saban prior to this, and then obviously Sark did it last year. I wrote when I did my Georgia preview a couple of days ago that I thought it opened the door for them to kind of be a dynasty. I mean, they've won 2 of the last 3, and if not for losing to Saban last year in the SEC championship game, it could have been 3 in a row. So I think they're the team that might be poised for dynasty. But clearly Sark has done a great job building up. I mean, that first season in 21, they lost 7 games. And they lost to Arkansas badly, and they got beat by Iowa State 30-7, and so from that 2 years later they're in the playoff, and I thought they got upset by Washington, to be honest. They probably should have won that game, but Washington was the better team that day. So Texas could obviously go through an open door as well, but I think Kirby has the most to gain.
Tom, for me, that it's just become apparent again this year, and fans never want to accept this, but with the exception of the Georgias and the, maybe your upper 4 or 5 teams, upper third of your league, you just give every team here 4 wins in non-conference play, and then go find 4 more in league play. I just still don't think we always look at how difficult 8-4 is in this league a lot of times, and that's not just an Arkansas thing. That's a rollover the majority of this conference, and look at their schedule. It's far more difficult when you start looking at a majority of the league. How do they get to 8-4? And not everybody's going to be able to.
No, that's a great point.
Even if you give them 4 non-con wins.
I know, and teams like South Carolina, they're playing Clemson, and Arkansas is playing at Oklahoma State. You're right. It is really hard, and I think that's why a lot of the SEC coaches are reluctant to let go of the 8-game conference schedule and go to 9. That suited Nick Saban. His team was a powerhouse.
Yeah.
It was easier for them to play 9 conference games and then schedule 3 really cool non-cons. And for Arkansas, Kentucky, you can go down the list, Mississippi State, even Ole Miss. They're riding the crest right now. But and their non-conference games haven't been as difficult. When you just look at it, same with Missouri, and so I don't know what will eventually come from the number of conference games, but for this year and next, we're sitting at 8, and you're right, getting bowl eligible is going to be difficult for many teams in the league.
You'll be up front when Sam Pittman addresses the main media room at 9:35 this morning. What do you think the questioning is like for Coach today?
Well, Billy Napier was in there yesterday. He got several, what does it mean? What will a successful season be? They've got a tougher schedule than Arkansas. It's really tough. So I assume Sam will get some, what will a successful season look like for you? Hot seat questions. How can you be better this year? That kind of thing. Because they had as much turnover. It's not like Mississippi State that has no returning starters on offense, but it's not far off. Arkansas has a huge roster turnover, especially at some of the skill spots. So I would say, how are you going to be better this year, basically?
Tom Murphy with us here on the Morning Rush. Tom, Arkansas lost Luke Hasz early in the season. You never can fully forecast if a guy's going to be able to play a full season or not, but assuming he can, how much under Bobby Petrino can he have an impact as a sophomore?
Well, DJ Williams could tell you how well the Bobby Petrino system works for tight ends. Hunter Henry wasn't under Bobby Petrino, but certainly Arkansas has been a school that produced some great tight ends, 2 Mackey Award winners. So I think, look, they were scoring points. They lost the BYU game with Hasz healthy, but they were a different team after they lost Hasz. Even though they played, the rest of that LSU game, they played it. He played in the LSU game, but
it's Ole Miss.
Yeah, they played those games tight. Alabama and Ole Miss, they played them tight. Late in the year, they got blown out a few times, but I do believe he will make an impact, and he's just one of those, if you're in scramble mode, if they can get their scramble rules down, Hasz could be a big deal because he can defeat one-on-one coverage with a linebacker, and I think that it's incumbent on Taylor Green to find a comfortability level with him to get out of some jams.
So you mentioned Arkansas' schedule. As I continue to look at this, I can make a case that their road schedule is easier than their home. They play a first-year coach on a neutral site, a first-year coach in Jeff Lebby in Mississippi State, a second-year coach in Auburn, Hugh Freeze, and then Drink at the end of the year. Is that a fair point to make that their road schedule, as weird as that sound, is easier than LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Texas?
Yeah, it's bizarre. They lost to those teams too. Missouri, Auburn, Mississippi State. They lost to all those teams at home last year. But, yeah, I think if you look at it on the whole, you could say maybe there's a better chance to go win a few road conference games. We've talked about it a few times, but I just like the way it sets up that you have an open week before you play LSU here in Fayetteville, and you have an open week before you play Texas, and what more can you ask for? They've had rough schedules, and this one is not as bad.
Tom Murphy with us here, Radio Row SEC Media Days. Let's talk about the defense because seemingly all the conversation's been on Taylor Green, Bobby Petrino, and a new offensive and rebuilt offensive line. Is this defense up to the challenge this year? Can they keep opponents, I'm just going to say under 30 points because I think the day of under 25 or 20, that ship has sailed.
I don't think Travis Williams and the rest of the defensive staff got enough credit last year because the season started to come apart on them. And, they didn't play so well in the BYU game. But you look at the numbers across the board, they sliced their passing yardage allowed, their total yards, their points. They slashed it pretty good. They got to the middle of the pack from being at the bottom. And so if the linebackers can fit in, if Sorey and Spence and Dean and the rest of those guys can fit in, I think the front will be pretty good. I think it'll be okay. You've got a veteran in Gregory and Ball and Landon Jackson, some other guys on the edge that I think they're going to be okay. And then if the linebackers can just fit their gaps better and give them a chance against those RPO games that tore them up late in the year, I think they'll have a chance to keep Arkansas in games. And really, when you look over the course of that schedule, it's a player or two here, a drive or two here, and they could have won more games. And can that be from a defensive stop against BYU? Yeah, it could have been. And could it have been, could it have been Mississippi State not having a procedure or whatever penalty they did on the fourth down that you got the Antonio Greer scoop and score, which could have made that a 10-7 game. So, yeah, I think the defense could be in shape to be, middle of the pack SEC again.
Heard anything insightful this week? I mean, Chuck was talking earlier, and he's listening now. None of these coaches have said anything to draw any kind of real attention this week.
I wasn't anticipating that question. Let me think. It's like a lot of the guys at the table, they've been asked, who's the best athlete in the SEC outside of your team? And they sit there and go, it's hard. I don't know. I think if you were to put a theme to this event, it would be Nick Saban is back here in his first year after being a dynastic coach with 6 championships, and he's sitting at the back of the room, and Kalen DeBoer is at the front of the room, and they're talking about him. And yesterday it was Steve Sarkisian going, Coach, I owe my career, I wouldn't be right here in my career if it weren't for you. And there's a lot of truth in that. And so I think that's probably the biggest theme of this year. And no, there hasn't been a lot of talk. We're going to beat so-and-so. Although I noticed that Quinn Ewers have some comments about Michigan yesterday.
Oh, Texas quarterback having some things to say. Who would have guessed?
You fired up?
Yeah, I mean, Ewers, he got led in this question a couple weeks ago at the passing academy, but I think he's gonna find it a little interesting when he walks into an SEC venue. On the subject of a Nick Saban disciple, you were just talking about Sark there. Kirby Smart, this idea they want, you mentioned the 2 of 3, maybe that can continue. It was brought to our attention yesterday that they could play 4 games in Mercedes-Benz Stadium this year. On top of that, Tom, you could see a rematch not once but for a third time in a season. Is that appealing to college football fans to see the same matchup 3 times in a year? Because it could happen in conference, SEC championship, college football playoff.
That's probably not super appealing.
If they split the first 2, it is.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, I mean, think LSU Alabama 2011. That was a compelling national championship game. The Georgia Alabama rematches, and they've had a couple in these last few years, have been good. I mean, Georgia turned around and lost to them in 21. Right? They lost the SEC championship and beat them in the national championship. So a third time, I'm with Tommy. If it's the rubber match, I'm down with that.
Yeah. Tom, we'll leave it there. It's been great to see you in person, and we'll chat on the phone next week.
Sounds
back
great.
In Arkansas.
Yeah. Did you say Sam Pittman's going to be on this air here pretty soon?
He is, in about 13 minutes. So
I might have to come hang. All right.
All right.
See y'all.
All right. It's Tom Murphy with us here on Radio Row. At SEC Media Days, we bring Chuck Barrett back into the conversation. I think that what Tom was saying there kind of fits into what we were talking about earlier, that Nick Saban's been, I think you used the word omnipresent, and Tom's take on that's kind of lined up with all of ours this morning.
Yeah, it's sort of been that way this week, and we really, just to be perfectly honest, we've come to expect maybe a little bit too much out of media days. We expect the coaches to go to the podium and be entertainers, when in reality what they are is football coaches. Now, you catch a break every once in a while if you're a media guy and you get 1 or 2 of them that are really glib. Maybe you get you hit the jackpot and one of them screws up and says something controversial. But other than that, there's not generally, a whole lot that's going to come out of it. But I do think, and again, and I'll go back to what I said earlier, it's the power of ESPN and their plans for Saban, and it's clear that they want him to remain the face of college football on their network, and he has been just a shadow over everything this week, and I don't figure that's going to change one bit.
I'll take a shadow right now.
Once they start playing. Yeah. You guys would love to pick Nick
stay right
shadow.
Nick, stay right there. Nick Roush, Kentucky Sports Radio, saving us.
Wow. These, you've heard the expression in baseball. He's got the glasses down. It's a high sky. That's tying Tommy right now.
Man.
Hey, if you're buying or selling a home, my friends at Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they're the ones you need to call, and they're all over the area. If you can hear me, they're close by. The thing that I found in my relationship with them, and I've said this before, but I think it's important. They're not necessarily going by, the old let's sell them a house blueprint. They meet you right where you are. Everyone's situation is different. If you're a buyer or a seller, not just the obvious difference between those, but every buyer's different, every seller's different, every situation's different. You need someone that listens to you. You need an open line of communication. You need them to understand what your desires are in this transaction. The one thing that I know is that when you deal with an agent from Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they're going to be the best trained in the business. They're going to have the answers to your questions, and ultimately, they're going to get you from contract to close. They're in Northwest Arkansas, Washington and Benton counties, Fort Smith, Branson. You're going to see their yellow signs all over town, and you can see their selection of homes at WeicherGriffin.com.
Yeah, I have been shocked at how Texas has been coddled this week. Even when Brent Venables was asked about horns down, he didn't give anything there.
I don't really have an opinion. Football is a game of emotion and intensity and passion, and if they say that's going to be a penalty, then don't do it. If they say it's a free-for-all, then have at it. Whatever rules that they have in place, we'll follow those.
You're the Oklahoma head coach. And
he doesn't care about – coaches don't care about that stuff.
Well, I thought his player was much better.
It shouldn't be a penalty anyways. Everybody has a hand signal. If you let a hand signal affect you and affect the game, maybe you shouldn't be there. So allowing us to throw the horns down, that's cool and all. But if it can't be a part of the game, then it's pretty soft.
Yep. That was better. That's how you answer that question. His own player gave a better answer. There hadn't been a coach that said anything worth a crap all week long. You've had more notable stuff from players this week than their coaches.
Damn Coach Venables for not entertaining you this week, Ty. My God.
I'm glad you're.
You should be gone tomorrow.
You're exactly right. Well, he's not going to last in Norman, but he will be there tomorrow.
All right, Sam Pittman coming up with us on the other side of the break. Quick word for Gaston's White River Resort. Call them at 870-431-5202. A lot of times following big rains and weather events like we've had in north central Arkansas yesterday, the fishing gets really good over the next week or so. So now is the time to call Gaston's, book your trip. A lot of those fish will move around, move up river to get out of some of the heavier currents. So now is the time to get to Gaston's. 870-431-5202. 80 private cabins and lodges await you there as well. Gaston's White River Resort. A first-class time every time.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here and hitthatline.com.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Here we go, Arkansas. The current lotto jackpot is over $2.5 million. Someone right here in Arkansas is going to win a life-changing jackpot. How do we know? Because lotto is only played and won here at home. Feeling good about your chances? Try lotto today for only $2 per play. Get your ticket at any Arkansas lottery retailer or on the Jackpocket app. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for problem gambling helpline.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
I'm ready to roll right now, Ty. Have a great day.
This is the Morning Rush.
Drive a compact SUV that has more style, power, and technology with the 2023 Buick Envision at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Right now, get up to $3,500 in discounts and financing as low as 0.9% for 36 months with approved credit. Plus, get state sales tax paid on all remaining 2023 models in stock. The Buick Envision. It's all about you and designed to inspire. Experience the new Buick at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Stop by the Golf Nut today and check out the full line of lab putters featuring Lie-Angle balanced technology. Lab putters were used by 14% of professionals in the 2024 Masters Tournament. All models of the new Scotty Cameron Phantom putters are in stock, including the longer 38-inch model. Come discover the biggest selection of name brand clubs, apparel, and accessories in the region. The Golf Nut, 5121 Towson Avenue, your #1 golf shop for over 30 years.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's #1 mobile app for placing sports wagers.
There's big news in the mobile sports betting business. Bet Saracen was just named the 15th largest sportsbook in America. That's because Arkansans like to do business with a winner. Find all your winners on Bet Saracen. Download it today and look for my RR prop bet specials. I pick them, you win them.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports wagering app.
Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700. When you're clocking out and happy hour's already started. But you're clocking out and happy hour's already started. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. Shelter Insurance has award-winning customer service at affordable rates.
Plus, our local agents are there to help you understand what coverage you need.
Call Jeff Clark in Fort Smith or Brad Howe in Van Buren.
If you knew all that Jody's Auto Service Centers can do for your vehicle and you'd never take your vehicle anywhere else.
My fleet is small, 14 trucks and cars. It's a struggle every day with parts, employees, and scheduling, but one thing I never worry about is vehicles. Jody's has special fleet pricing, special in and out service, or free shuttle and pickup and delivery service. And they do everything, service, repair, and maintenance. That makes my life much easier. All my vehicles go to Jody's.
Latest technology and highly trained technicians means we could do it all. From the most highly technical repairs to everyday oil change specials, tires, everything, even diesels. Jody'sAuto.com. Schedule free shuttle service or pickup and delivery. Get a tire quote, get financing. Jody's Auto Service Centers, voted best of the best by our customers year after year. We're your neighbors since 1984 with 3 full-service locations in Fort Smith and Van Buren. See for yourself at JODYSauto.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Arkansas football. It's the players running through the A. Hog hats. It's more than 70,000 fans calling Woo Pig Suey.
Yes, sir! Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
This is your Hog Update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Mr. Sparky. Need a licensed electrician to service your home? For one of their local pros, call 888-8-SPARKY.
Kendall Diggs coming back for another season of Arkansas baseball. Announced publicly yesterday. We heard Dave Van Horn allude to it in the post-game presser that this was a possibility. Guys, it's not just a possibility. It's a reality. Kendall Diggs back for another year.
Yep, and the roster's starting to take shape, take focus.
Draft wrapped up, and they didn't take a big hit. So I'm anxious to see what the roster looks like next year.
Stone Hewlett signs with the Los Angeles Angels. That is another free agent acquisition. You've had several guys. I think it was 8 total that were drafted from the University of Arkansas, the highest being Hagen Smith, 5th overall to the Chicago White Sox. So congratulations to Stone, the lefty. Hopefully he can find himself to the majors at some point. We're going to get a chance to talk with Coach Pittman coming up, not just here on these airwaves, but also on the media stops. He's going to start his SEC network stuff at 9:35. He's going to be doing it for about 3 hours. Again, he's got Landon Jackson, Andrew Armstrong, and Taylon Green all with him. Guys, you've got probably the most talented player on your team in in Landon Jackson. He's going to be an All-American, All-SEC preseason guy, but I think people are most concerned with what QB1 has to say.
I think so too. I think, you were talking earlier about Sam Pittman and the questions he'll be asked. I honestly think Taylon Green is going to be the one, and I think it ought to be this way. I think he's the one for whom a lot of these questions are going to center around. I think he's the guy that's going to generate a lot of the conversation and the best among the players.
Well, we've got now Coach Pittman joining us as we're live from Radio Row. Coach, I know you're going to make your way to the main media room coming up shortly, and we're just talking about your starting quarterback. What can you tell us about when you knew that he was going to be QB1 for you this fall?
Oh, honestly, very early in spring ball. His leadership, he came in and just went to work. There wasn't a lot of talking, a lot of business, just a lot of showing his athletic ability, the way he can throw the football. But he's such a great athlete, but he's a better leader. And you have those guys at that quarterback position. Everybody needs them. And he certainly is an outstanding leader, very talented. But to answer your question, fairly early in spring ball.
Coach, hope you've had a great summer. What can you tell us about Fernando Carmona, Keyshawn Blackstock, and Addison Nichols? 3 additions through the portal to your offensive line. 3 guys that it appears coming out of spring may be not just starters but key players for you. Tell us what you saw out of spring and how their summers went.
Yeah, I think, again, you look at Carmona, and he has that ability to lead as well. Very, very unique guy. Very good player. Blackstock, same way, hard worker. Nichols is a guy that we needed. I think he's going to be one of the better centers in the SEC. Guy that we haven't talked about a little bit is Joe Moore that we got late. Obviously, he'll be behind some because he didn't go through spring ball, but he's a guy that we needed. Obviously, we needed depth. We needed starters in the O-line. We had 2 coming back with Kudus and Blond, but we needed some help there, and we hit on those guys. And we didn't only hit on them talent-wise, but we hit on character and ability to lead.
Coach Pittman with us here live on Radio Row. Coach, one of the assets you have is your pass catchers. You got the #1 returning core in the Southeastern Conference. Andrew Armstrong is coming with you as well. What can you tell us about a lot of these guys entering year 2 or 3 with your football program?
Well, I think certainly you hope and you want those guys to mature and get a lot better in their second year. They were very good in their first year with Broden, Sategna, Wilson, Armstrong, and certainly Tesla. We think that we've got a really good, those are just 5 of who we have, but we think we've got a really good receiving core. I think Andrew Armstrong's in the best shape of his life. I think that he's ready to be one of the premier receivers in the league. And so we're excited about that group. And again, as you said, they're all coming back. And certainly we have the guy to get them the ball in. And certainly with Taylon Green.
Coach, you're bringing Landon Jackson with you here to Dallas today. I think you feel pretty good based on what you said coming out of spring about your front 4. How do you feel with put the linebackers with that about your front 6 or 7?
Yeah, I like them. Landon, led our team in sacks, led our team in tackles for loss. And And then you look over there on the other side, and Nico Davier, it's his time. It's his time to step up. He has in spring ball. And then we got June Codge out of Albany. And on the other side, certainly Quincy Rhodes is as good-looking a kid as we have on our team there at the edge. And then in the inside, we have three of those guys coming back. Danny Solie, we added in there. Ian Griffard is also another big body on the inside. So I think we have good depth there. We've got good starters. Linebacker group is the one where you have Spence and certainly Sorey, who can really run. We've added a couple of guys, and Larry Wirth, Stephen Dix. And Larry Wirth ran, sub 48, 400 meters. He's 6'3", 6'4", can run. A guy that we needed, we've liked. Obviously, we haven't seen him on the field yet, him or Dix, but they've got the body, and we needed depth there. And depth doesn't necessarily mean you're two. It just means you're one of the guys that are going to play, and we feel really good about our front seven.
Coach, how would you define a successful season for the Razorbacks this year?
Well, we want to go to the playoffs. That would be success. We want to play in the postseason, and that would be the minimum. And but we've got a really good team. I think you guys saw it in the spring. Certainly, we wanted you to. That's why we opened it up for the media. We felt like we had a good group of guys. I love the leadership of the group, but success would be. Arkansas, we've been 9-4. We were 4-20. We went to 9-4. We sure as hell can say being 4-8.
Coach, as we let you go here, I know there's a lot of anticipation for this season as you guys are, I think, 43 days out. How do you get your guys not to focus on that Week 2 battle in Stillwater and keep them focused on the task ahead, which is that Thursday night game against UAPB?
Yeah, great question. I think what we're trying to talk to our kids about is, it's 1 week at a time, and that's including summer workouts. That was including spring ball. It's a day at a time. It's a week at a time. And then when we get done, we'll grade success. We'll figure out what we have to do better. That's been from January to now. And so we started implementing that this whole entire off season. The most important game we have is Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's the most important game we have. And then we'll move on. We're set up for the Oklahoma State game because we've got a couple of days on them and things like that. But the most important game we have is Pine Bluff. We'll figure that game out. We'll flush that game. We'll go to Oklahoma State. In the playoffs, there'll be teams in the playoffs that's lost 2 games and all that. So each game is not do or die.
Coach, thanks.
Certainly each one.
Better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has
just
been
in that
voted
situation,
best
just
RV
turn it all the
dealer
way
year
down.
after year.
Turn
Wheels
the
RV, 5 miles
commercial
west
down.
of exit 72
We have a
off
guest
of
like
I-49
that.
in
If we
Springdale.
miss a
See,
commercial, that's
explore,
okay.
discover with Wheels RV.
Work now, pay later with sizzling savings at WT Equipment. No money down, no interest, and no payments until 2025 on select New Holland equipment. Choose 0 for 60 or up to 10,000 cash back plus free net wrap on roll belt round balers. 0 for 72 or up to 10,000 cash back on mid-range tractors, or 0 for 72 plus an additional 2,000 cash back on a new compact. Work smarter with no money down, no interest, and no payments on your choice of the summer's hottest deals at WT Equipment, your partner in progress.
APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group has immediate openings in the Northwest Arkansas area. If you're a licensed CDL driver, heavy equipment operator, electrician, diesel mechanic, have paving or concrete labor experience, or experience in a quarry, apply today at jobs.crh.com. APAC offers top pay, a sign-on bonus, benefits including insurance, retirement, and profit sharing. Apply online today at jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group is an equal opportunity employer.
Here we go, Arkansas. The current lotto jackpot is over $2.5 million. Someone right here in Arkansas is going to win a life-changing jackpot. How do we know? Because Lotto is only played and won here at home. Feeling good about your chances? Try Lotto today for only $2 per play. Get your ticket at any Arkansas lottery retailer or on the Jackpocket app. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
This is the Morning Rush.
Hey, Ty Richardson for Jim. They have several locations in the Arkansas area, but I specifically want to talk to you about Jim Mart number 10. Great deli. My goodness. Great lunch, great dinner. But have you had the breakfast yet? It's the best in town. And they have that convenient drive-through window. So when you're heading north or south on 540, take exit number 6 for Jim Mart number 10. 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith. Jim, the leading gas station and convenience store in the area.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Herod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 Fort Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westart Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westart Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
There's more to a tractor than just horsepower. A tractor also needs weight to get that horsepower to the ground. With TYM, a heavier tractor comes standard. Many of the TYM models weigh more for the horsepower than comparable tractors from the big names, and tractors that weigh more do more. See Bush Tractor at their new location at 6100 South Zero in Fort Smith, or log on to bushtractor.com to see how they can upgrade your productivity.
Missing or broken teeth? Sharp Smiles wants you to start chewing again with dental implants. Scared of the dentist? Sharp Smiles will help you overcome your fear. Big dental problems? Sharp Smiles Modern Dentistry and Implants is your answer to your dental needs and services, where your smile is top priority. Get the smile you have always wanted from the friendly faces at Sharp Smiles, 2600 Market Trace, Suite B, off Jenny Lind across from Harps. For more information, visit the website at sharpsmilesdds.com or call 648-9988.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, we will see periods of sunshine across the north, some showers and thunderstorms across the south, highs today in the lower 80s. Everybody dries out tonight, low to mid 60s, and then sunshine Friday, a high into the lower 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Come Get You Some, Arkansas's premier off-road superstore. Call 782-MUD today. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 42 days. This hour of the Morning Rush is brought to you by Bud Light, brewed with the best barley, rice, water, and hops to be America's favorite light beer. Bud Light, please drink responsibly.
First of all, I'd like to play better than we played in 2021. We did not play very good in that ball game, and it's a great environment. I jokingly say this, and I feel like when you go to Arkansas, that
I almost at times feel like they hate Texas more than they like themselves. So that's a real rivalry. That's when you know you're in a real rivalry. And I know so much has been made of us getting to play A&M again, but the fact that we get to play Arkansas again is awesome.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios. Heard all across ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Hit that line.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
You're in need of a serious attitude adjustment, young man. You better get your priorities straight.
Produced by Christian Johnston.
In spite of the juvenile snickers of some, this is a serious matter.
Good morning, gentlemen. Let me rephrase that. You got two gentlemen. You got one ain't earned it yet, has he?
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
It's All right, the final hour from Radio Row here on SEC Media Days. Really appreciate the Stadium Shop on Razorback, WT Equipment, and Lindbergh Real Estate team with us all week long. Just got a text from Robert Mann, who was listening to the program. I think he gave Coach a lapel pin that he'll be wearing today. We'll see I would guess a suit. No, I didn't get a chance to ask Coach. Will we see Coach or anyone else wear a cowboy hat, Tommy?
If we'd have had a little more time, and I wish we had, that would have been suit, whether he's going to have his boots on or sneakers on. It's been an interesting shoe game this week with the head coaches. Hey, quickly, I want to tell you about Uncorked. They're on Phoenix Avenue next to Sody's in Fort Smith. Great way to start your afternoon on their patio. We're going to have patio weather the next few days after that front push through and bringing some great temperatures. Great place for date night with your honey. You can take her out to Uncorked for a great meal. They got oysters back. They got a new menu that Chef Jazz has put out. You can make your reservations online at uncorkthefort.com. We love going to Uncorked. You're always going to find some great wines, maybe some bourbons you don't find anywhere else, and always a great selection of beers as well. Uncorked, Phoenix Avenue next to Sody's in Fort Smith, or uncorkthefort.com.
This hour of Chuck Barrett on the Morning Rush is presented by Mach 1 Financial. Mach 1 Financial Group, LLC is an SEC-registered investment advisor located in Bentonville, Arkansas. For full disclosures, visit mach1financial.com/disclosures.
So if you were with us prior to the top of the hour, Sam Pittman joined us. He was on his way from the airport here to the Omni. Chuck, you've been on these trips before. You get up early, you go on the team plane. It's a whirlwind day, a lot happening. Every minute of your day is accounted for. You've been kind of behind the scenes on what Sam Pittman and those three players are, the adventure they're on today.
Yeah, it's been a few years, but I've been on that plane a time or two over the years. It's always interesting because you got a couple of dynamics at play. The players are nervous. I mean, I don't care what they look like when they walk off the plane. They're nervous. Everybody's dressed up. For the coach, it's, here we go again. I mean, this is basically the start of when you're going to be asked about your football team virtually every day by somebody in the media. So it's always interesting. And for a head coach, the minute, I mean literally the minute you land, you've got a phone interview set up. The minute that you get into that Tahoe or Suburban or whatever Secret Service-like vehicle you're riding in that day, you're doing a phone interview. He did one with you guys. That's not going to be the only one. I'm sure he did between the airport and the venue where you guys are right now. And when he gets there, the first thing they're going to do is whisk him into a room with the SEC network, I would imagine, because those guys get them when they're fresh. By the time they get to some people, they're tired, and it's not as good. But the networks get them early. The reason these guys, and we all, and Ty, you've talked about it, and you're not the only one. People want that entertainment value that comes from SEC Media Days. I've always believed that if these guys were only talking to 4 or 5 different outlets, maybe 2 or 3, just maybe even in the main room, you'd get a better show than these guys that are going to 10, 12, 15 different spots. You have to program them. You have to program them to say the same thing every time. Otherwise, you just go nuts because for literally 4 hours, from the time you hit the ground until the time it squeals up, you're answering somebody's question about your team. And for them, it's the biggest part of the day, or at least one of the big parts of the day.
Yeah.
You know? But for him, it might be the 9th time he's done it. But for the people he's talking to, it's the biggest part of the morning. So it's just always interesting for me to watch that play out. When Coach Petrino was here for a couple of years, 3 years maybe, and it is a privilege. I mean, I was in pretty much every room he was in. And it's interesting to watch all the dynamic as these guys move from room to room. I don't know how they do it, quite honestly.
Well, you heard his 10 or so minutes with us. What stood out to you in the questions and the answers with Coach Pittman a few moments ago?
Well, I mean, you can tell that, you know, he's not accepting the narrative as you would expect. You know, he talks about this team in terms of being a good football team. And I think that's what you have to plan for, and that's what they are planning for. You know, you were talking about blocking out the outside noise a little bit earlier, Ty. That's an old refrain. It's hard to do. It may be impossible to do now. I'm of the opinion, quite honestly, that the idea that you can block it out's a little bit naive. You got to find a way to turn it around and use it to your advantage if you can. That's not always possible. I would imagine that there's going to be a collective chip. Now, somebody may knock it off, and you know, but I would imagine there's going to be a collective chip there at the start, and I would expect him to lead that.
I would use it to my advantage. I know that was something Eric Musselman often did with his basketball program. And, again, they were, I wouldn't say highly lauded, but when you pick third preseason in the West, and, I mean, it's pretty high for Arkansas standards, just unfortunately didn't pan out that season. I think for, like, when you think about the transition, and I've talked a lot about Ole Miss this week. From a roster standpoint, they're second or third only to maybe Georgia and Texas, but how does the chemistry fit? Maybe this is untrue. Maybe it's factual. That it didn't, at least from the outside looking in, it didn't seem like there was chemistry within that locker room at times last season. You don't know how this group is going to mess. I forget the number of transfers you brought in. You've got a new quarterback. You've got a new running back room. You've got new pieces. It's just something you have to really calculate for as a head coach each year in college football now.
Well, you can't relive last year, and it would be nice if you could because you'd probably have a different offensive coordinator on the first game, just to be real blunt about it. To me, that is, you know, that's the thing that I look back on last year was offensive inefficiency. And I really like Dan Enos a lot. I think he's a good man and a good coach. But it did not work last year, and it was a terrible fit. And it was a disaster, really, from early in the season on, and it never got better. And so, you know, Coach Pittman did something during the offseason that's very, very, very difficult to do. And I really have a lot of respect for him, and I've told him this personally, that it's hard. It's hard to swallow your pride as a head coach. And you think about, you know, going out and hiring Bobby Petrino, and he hired him with the full knowledge that every win is going to be credited to Petrino and every loss is going to be blamed on Pittman.
Yep.
That's not fair to either one of them, quite frankly. But you know, it takes some courage, and it takes some security, self-security. I'm not talking about job security. I'm talking about security in yourself as a person.
Yeah, confidence, all that.
To go out and do that. So I hope the team responds to that. I don't know if they will, but I think they might.
Well, there's no comparison for what you had in the wide receiver room back in 2009, 2010, and 2011. But one of the things I pointed out with Coach, and he kind of leaned into it a little bit, is you do have the number one returning core in that group along with your tight ends in the Southeastern Conference. And he kind of spoke to that and maybe what it could be for his offense this year.
Well, I think certainly you hope and you want those guys to mature and get a lot better in their second year. They were very good in their first year with Broden, Patagna, Wilson, Armstrong, and certainly Tesla. We think that we've got a really good, those are just 5 of who we have, but we think we've got a really good receiving core. I think Andrew Armstrong's in the best shape of his life. I think that he's ready to be one of the premier receivers in the league. And so we're excited about that group. And again, as you said, they're all coming back. And certainly we have the guy to get them the ball in. And certainly with Taylor Green.
I would expect Arkansas's receivers to be good this year, and I'll tell you why. Paul Petrino was the wide receivers coach when Bobby was the head coach. And their way, for lack of a better way to put it, their way of coaching wide receivers is really, really effective. Jarius Wright and Childs and those other guys, they just didn't walk out there and, become what they were just by showing up. And you've got a Petrino disciple that's coaching the wide receivers now. And I'm sure he's coaching them, again, for lack of a better way to put it, the Petrino way. I was very impressed when they were here with the way they coach wide receivers, really as much as I was quarterbacks. And I think this group will be better because of that.
I just think about how many times that you saw like an explosive play with Jarius or Joe or Greg blocking 40 yards downfield. That's not, like you said, that they didn't learn that from high school. That's coaching down the road.
I'm not talking about what you see on television. I'm not talking about the obvious. I'm talking about the steps on the route. I've seen both of them do it out on the practice field. Every single step is coached. Every single step is coached. Every move is coached. But you are right in that he did emphasize what was the touchdown block that we often saw from those guys downfield.
So, Tommy, one of the questions you asked him about was his offensive line, and there's no really debate on if he's a good offensive line coach or not or knows that skill. It wasn't what he wanted last year. It wasn't what anyone wanted, but they added some guys in the offseason.
You look at Carmona, and he has that ability to lead as well. Very, very unique guy. Very good player. Blackstock, same way, hard worker. Nichols is a guy that we needed. I think he's going to be one of the better centers in the SEC. Guy that we haven't talked about a little bit is Joe Moore that we got late. Obviously, he'll be behind some because he didn't go through spring ball, but he's the guy that we needed. Obviously, we needed depth. We needed starters in the O-line. We had 2 coming back with Kudus and Bond, but we needed some help there, and we hit on those guys. And we didn't only hit on them talent-wise, but we hit on character and ability to lead.
We've had Carmona on this show. He's a funny guy, but he's also one of these guys, Chuck, that you don't necessarily want to trifle with when it comes to putting those pads on.
No, he's going to be the heart and soul, to use that old expression. He's going to be the heart and soul of the offensive line. And in terms of the tackles, Blackstock on the other side, he's a pretty nasty guy. And I think that, you need guys like that. The center that he talked about, the transfer. That's a critical spot. You'll remember he talked about that a lot in the preseason last year. And I think Kudus will probably be better on the inside as a guard, and Braun's back. So I think there are some guys there that give you a chance to be okay.
And you got Tykees Crawford back, who it's his senior year. He probably wants to make a final statement because it probably hadn't panned out the way he wanted. And then a young guy in Kobe Branham that coming out of spring, he's a true freshman, but when you talk to people that have been to practice and watched, he may not be a starter for you right away, but they like the nastiness he plays with as a young player. I think he's a big part of the future plans and may see some reps in his freshman season in that offensive line, and I would expect him to be in the 2 deep maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The thing about that position is if you really watch the game, there's not always a lot of substituting. They don't rotate like they do on the defensive line. and is one who fills out the 2 deep and the 3 deep every week. I can tell you there are guys on that 2 deep that never see the field. So I don't know where he's going to be. It certainly sounds like he's got a future, though.
I think they've got a good young one. Yeah.
I think about a guy like Marion Harris. It's time for him to play. It's time for him to play. And he's had an injury issue, but there's some players there that they need to play.
I thought Marion looked pretty good in that bowl game against Kansas. Now, that was Kansas's defense, not what he has to face in the SEC, but just didn't necessarily get on the field like he thought he would this season. So speaking of season, Tommy, you also asked Coach, hey, what does this season look like? What does a successful season look like for Arkansas football in 2024? Here's Coach.
Well, we want to go to the playoffs. That would be success. We want to play in the postseason, and that would be the minimum. And but we've got a really good team. I think you guys saw it in the spring. Certainly, we wanted you to. That's why we opened it up for the media. We felt like we had a good group of guys. I love the leadership of the group, but success would be, Arkansas. We've been 9-4. We were 4-20. We went to 9-4. We sure as hell can change being 4-8.
And when you hear that at the outset, the minimum, Chuck, is get to the postseason. That means we know what that means in total of wins. But he didn't define it by wins. Those are the goals for the year, and that's how he's looking at success for this season.
Well, you wouldn't expect him to say anything other than we expect to be a postseason team at minimum. I know one of the favorite off-season topics is, what's a realistic expectation for wins every year? It always is the great debate. I think you start with going to a bowl game. Let's look at this league and let's look at this schedule. But he said minimum. That's what he said. And so I think that's reasonable. And but everyone's got their own definition of success. I know that too. Hey, let me pause just for a second. Remind you, the Market Moment podcast is up this week, and Lee and Eli and John are talking about what Eli's calling the small cap summer. If you keep up, you know that the market's rotating a little bit. It's been heavily saturated in tech and large cap, and there have been some historically successful small caps even, and inflation numbers are coming down. Are rates going to be cut by the Fed? There's a lot of stuff they're talking about this week. You can check it out by logging on to market-moment.com. You can find out more about it. And I'll remind you that Mach 1 Financial Group, LLC is an SEC-registered investment advisor. They're located in Rogers. And for full disclosures, you can visit mach1financial.com/disclosures.
Other thing he mentioned, I think one of the biggest question marks, if not the biggest question mark on this football team, is the linebacker. You lose Chris Paul to Ole Miss. You lose Jaheim Thomas, playing back for his former coach in Luke Fickell in Wisconsin. What does that look like with some of the additions there? Here's what he said about not just that, but his front seven.
Landon, led our team in sacks, led our team in tackles for loss. And then you look over there on the other side, and Nico Davier, it's his time. It's his time to step up. He has in spring ball. And then we got June Codge out of Albany, and on the other side, certainly Quincy Rhodes is as good-looking a kid as we have on our team there at the edge. And then in the inside, we have three of those guys coming back. Danny Soley, we added in there. Ian Griffard is also another big body on the inside. So I think we have good depth there. We've got good starters. Linebacker group is the one where you have Spence and certainly Sorey, who can really run. We've added a couple of guys in Larry Wirtz, Stephen Dix, and Larry Wirtz ran, sub 48, 400 meters. He's 6'3", 6'4", can run. A guy that we needed, we've liked. Obviously, we haven't seen him on the field yet, him or Dix, but they've got the body, and we needed depth there, and depth doesn't necessarily mean you're two. It just means you're one of the guys that are going to play, and we feel really good about our front seven.
Grafard's an interesting guy because he's nearly 400 pounds, not necessarily the typical defensive lineman that you see at Arkansas. I'm curious to see if we see him in more situations this year. And then June Kachuk he led the FCS in sacks last year. Scott, we were talking about that hitter that Arkansas just plucked away out of the JUCO ranks that had like a 500-plus batting average. I mean, this kid had, I think, 14 or 15 sacks in the FCS ranks last year.
Yeah, now look, it's going to be a whole lot different. And I would not expect him to have anything close to that. But I think when you look at him and some of the others, and again, these may not be household names. I don't hear a lot of fans saying, man, I can't wait to watch Quincy Rhodes play.
Yeah.
But as Coach Pittman said, he's as good looking a player as they've got on the defensive line. So that's the nature of college football, is the changing of the rosters and how even the positions that are, we don't notice right away, like the skill positions. We notice them immediately. The other spots maybe secondarily. But even for those spots, there's so much rotation among personnel. That's just how it works now.
All right, we're live on Radio Row, SEC Media Days. The Razorbacks will be here this morning. We'll have more coverage throughout the day here on ESPN Arkansas. And hitthatline.com, all of our coverage presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback in Fayetteville. You can shop online at shoponrazorback.com. By WT Equipment, they've earned the trust of the hardest working people for more than 50 years with New Holland Equipment. Visit them online at WTEquip.com. And by the Lindbergh Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. Go to LindberghTeam.com.
All right, when we come back, we'll hear more from Coach and some other coaches this week.
ESPN Arkansas is kicking off college football live from Radio Row in Dallas, Texas at SEC Media Days. Our shows provide insight on player and coach interviews, including special moments throughout the entire week. Make sure to tune in to the Morning Rush, Halftime, and Ruskin and Zach to get this unique coverage presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback, WT Equipment, and Lindbergh Real Estate Group.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Here we go, Arkansas. The current lotto jackpot is over $2.5 million. Someone right here in Arkansas is going to win a life-changing jackpot. How do we know? Because Lotto is only played and won here at home. Feeling good about your chances? Try Lotto today for only $2 per play. Get your ticket at any Arkansas lottery retailer or on the Jackpocket app. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for problem gambling helpline.
APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group has immediate openings in the Northwest Arkansas area. If you're a licensed CDL driver, heavy equipment operator, electrician, diesel mechanic, have paving or concrete labor experience, or experience in a quarry, apply today at jobs.crh.com. APAC offers top pay, a sign-on bonus, benefits including insurance, retirement, and profit sharing. Apply online today at jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, this is Arkansas pitcher Gabe Gacko, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
He struck him out swinging on a breaking ball.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metal.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, Sankey.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
You want something a little wetter? Well, think summer on a G3 boat or Suncatcher pontoon boat. Financing available, all ATVs and boats. Get your summer adventure started today at Adventure Oklahoma, at Auto Finders, Highway 64 Roland. See AutoFindersOK.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. You're listening to The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
It takes a guy with a lot of confidence to say, yeah, I'll follow Nick Saban, because it's not like he was poor out there coaching at Washington. It's not like he wondered how he was going to make his mortgage payment next month. I mean, he agreed to take that task, and his every movement is going to be compared to Saban's. And my guess would be, in all sincerity, Saban's a decent man, and he understands coaches, and he understands football programs, and he's smart enough to know that he really doesn't need to be around there right now. It's not fair to Kalen DeBoer for Saban to be in that building. The shadow's big enough without him actually being there.
We got a chance to hear from Coach Pittman in hour number 2 and played some of that audio back in hour 3. One of the things that he mentioned was talking about the playoffs. Well, one of the guys that he'll have to play this season, Jeff Lebby, head coach of Mississippi State, also had some interesting thoughts about the college football playoff. I want to play his clip coming up in just a sec as we're rolling along here on hour number 3 live from Radio Row.
Hey, finding the right financing to remodel your current home or build a new one is easier than ever when you stop by one of Farm Credit of Western Arkansas's 25 locations and let their experts guide you from start to finish. Or you can log on to myaglender.com and see all the financing options that they offer. Farm Credit of Western Arkansas. They're making dreams come true, and they've been doing it for more than 100 years.
Mississippi State might be your most winnable road game this fall. We'll have to see how the season shakes out, but when Jeff Lebby, who's been in Oklahoma and Ole Miss and few other stops, got asked about the expanded playoff. Here is what the state coach had to say.
There's nothing but good coming from the expanded playoff. You know, you have the opportunity to not be perfect in the regular season and then get in and go chase it and have a chance to win a championship. I think it opens a door and it creates a door. And we're talking about maximizing every day, every opportunity, every single season, and fighting like heck to be in that top 12.
Guys, with the SEC in the position they are in the strongest conference in college football, the Big Ten's not too far behind. I know some people think the gap is wide. I don't know if it's that wide, to be honest. I think we could, even in year one, see a 9-3 team make the college football playoff.
Well, I think one of the reasons you're going to hear coaches like Sam Pittman and Jeff Lebby and maybe some others talk about the playoffs when fans may think they don't have any kind of hope. The one thing that a program like these can cling to is, look, if we can get into the top 5, now that's a big ask. I'm not naive. Getting into the top 5 in this league is not going to be easy to do. But if you're in the top 5, you're going to be in the playoff conversation. If you're in the top 4, you're probably in. If you're in the top 3, guarantee you're in. So I do think that from a psychological standpoint, it does give some more hope. Now, I do think ultimately, you were talking about the gap between the conferences. The SEC has shown that if you are the conference champion in this league, that there's a pretty good chance you're going to win the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Or that there's, now with the expanded playoff, I still think there's a good chance an SEC team wins the whole thing. But again, if you can get into that top 5, certainly 4, there's a good chance you're going to be in the playoff. And that gives everybody the thought that they might be able to move into that group.
Yeah. Question is, where's the cutoff on the season? There's some I've talked to here that believe that under the right set of circumstances, the right teams, the right losses, the right margins, 8-4 could even get in that top 12. That seems a stretch to me, but
I don't think that.
Well, I was talking to someone that's involved in the process, let's say. They thought on the very fringe of it, 8-4 out of the Big Ten or the SEC could there could even still be a path depending on how your 4 losses shook out. I find that amazing. I tend to agree with you, but that was
it would
someone
be very fringe, as you said. It would have to be one of those years where everyone just beats up on everybody, and 10-2's the best record in the SEC and or the Big Ten, and nobody's established themselves as the best team. It's possible, I guess, but I would bet that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to put money on it, I would almost guarantee that the SEC gets 3 or more teams in the first inaugural 12-team playoff. But it sure sounds like that we're going to be moving to possibly 14 sometime soon.
All right, Greg Sankey, commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, is going to be joining us in about 10 minutes. So many moving parts right now, guys, in college athletics.
He's getting the heavyweights on today.
Yeah,
we're Pittman and Sankey.
You ought to see who didn't make the cut. It's
Tom
quite a
Murphy.
list as well. Chuck Barrett, they're all here today. Hey,
who's fourth?
Joe's Grill and Cantina. It's the place on Thursdays with Throwback Thursdays. They got some of the old Cuco's platters that they bring out and roll out one on special. Fajita Friday, all the fajitas on special tomorrow. I tend to lean towards the brisket fajitas. They are really good there. And endless enchiladas on Saturday. Won't be long. We'll be watching games at Joe's with half-price apps and taps. Joe's Grill and Cantina on South 74th Street across from Harps and Fort Smith.
Chuck, you were talking earlier about other football coaches that have been asked the same thing 8 or 9 different times. How many times do you think Greg Sankey has been asked the same question this week as he's made? I mean, it's got to even be more than that because he's probably done, what'd you say, Tommy, 40, 50 interviews already this week, if not more?
How many times do you suspect the word expansion has come up? That word, just that word. It would be an incredible number.
Yeah, it would be an astronomical number at any time you take the over on that. There's no question about it. But His handler just came over, so he's going to join us in about 10 minutes.
You know you've made it when you have a handler.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he's got his own headset, too. He's got his own Comrex.
He comes around Radio Row. He doesn't use the he's got the same thing we have, a Sennheiser, but he brings his own.
He's seen the people that put those headsets on.
Yeah.
He doesn't want any part of that.
He's the only one that can afford a $600 one just to keep
It's
it
either
best
carry
room.
his own headsets or carry a can of Lysol. One of the two.
Smart man.
All right, the final segment of this hour, when we come back again, we've been live at Radio Row all week. As we wrap it up here, our SEC update with Greg Sankey coming up next.
Listen to that last segment, I promise you, it sounded like I walked into a barbershop and listened to two old men just go at it. That was great.
You're listening to The Morning Rush.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Work now, pay later with sizzling savings at WT Equipment. No money down, no interest, and no payments until 2025 on select New Holland equipment. Choose 0 for 60 or up to 10,000 cash back, plus free net wrap on roll belt round balers. 0 for 72 or up to 10,000 cash back on mid-range tractors, or 0 for 72 plus an additional 2,000 cash back on a new compact. Work smarter with no money down, no interest, and no payments on your choice of the summer's hottest deals at WT Equipment, your partner in progress.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
This is former Arkansas Razorback and current OKC Thunder guard Isaiah Joe, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Calling all biscuit lovers. Hardee's limited edition blueberry biscuits are the stuff of biscuit dreams. Our famous buttermilk biscuits with summer's favorite berries baked in, served warm, and drizzled with icing. Don't miss your chance to try this special summertime treat while blueberry biscuits are still in season and ripe for the picking. Only at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. Order ahead on the Hardee's app. Participation may vary. Exclusions apply by time of day.
Missing or broken teeth? Sharp Smiles wants you to start chewing again with dental implants. Scared of the dentist? Sharp Smiles will help you overcome your fear. Big dental problems? Sharp Smiles Modern Dentistry and Implants is your answer to your dental needs and services, where your smile is top priority. Get the smile you have always wanted from the friendly faces at Sharp Smiles, 2600 Market Trace, Suite B, off Jenny Lind across from Harps. For more information, visit the website at sharpsmilesdds.com or call 648-9988.
And we're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
Best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
Presented by Sharp Equipment. Get hooked on Sharp Equipment this year. Sharp Equipment has hooked up with Eastern Oklahoma Guide Service for a free guided fishing trip with the purchase of any Whacker Newson equipment. Along with getting a superior piece of equipment, you will get hooked up with a free guided fishing trip for the chance at a catch of a lifetime. Visit them at Sharp Equipment, 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or call them at 479-242-1406.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Summer is here and adventure is calling. Visit Southern Tire Mart for a new set of Yokohama tires to get your vehicle ready for summer travels. Southern Tire Mart is your trusted partner for top quality tires, professional services, and competitive pricing. Visit us in Fort Smith at 9700 Highway 271 and let Southern Tire Mart ensure your vehicle is ready for the open road. Southern Tire Mart is a proud dealer of Yokohama tires. We keep America rolling.
Whether it's torque, horsepower, or just extreme work, diesel trucks do their job. But when your diesel truck needs maintenance or repair, it's time to head to Extreme Diesel. Everything from standard maintenance to extreme repairs, including injector testing. Extreme Diesel delivers. They have the tools and service for your Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. You trust your truck to deliver on your needs, and you can trust your truck at Extreme Diesel. 6630 Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma. Check them out on Facebook or give them a call at 651-3363. They're bilingual, now offering CP4 solutions for both Chevy and Ford.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive, or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Except we've got SEC finals. Deal with it. They're the best.
In the SEC, it just means more.
I know one thing. The SEC just got a little tougher.
This is your SEC update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Burton Pools and Spas. Trusted pool experts and your source for backyard fun. Locations in Fort Smith, Springdale, and always online at burtonpools.com.
We had a chance to catch up with Coach Pittman at SEC Media Days, and his starting quarterback, Taylor Green, is going to be alongside with Landon Jackson and Andrew Armstrong. We don't know a lot about Taylor Green because we hadn't seen him play in a Razorback uniform. You've seen some highlights. You've seen some excerpts. But what did Coach Pittman have to say about his starting quarterback? Take a listen.
His leadership, he came in and just went to work. There wasn't a lot of talking, a lot of business, just a lot of showing his athletic ability, the way he can throw the football. But he's such a great athlete, but he's a better leader. And you have those guys at that quarterback position. Everybody needs them. And he certainly is an outstanding leader, very talented. But to answer your question, fairly early in spring ball.
And that was a question I asked and directed, hey, when did you know he was going to be your starting quarterback? And that I feel like the term leadership, Tommy, has been the most prevalent word used with Taylor Green, which you don't necessarily hear that with the transfer all the time, but he seemed to command that locker room pretty early on.
Yep, and you got to win over. It's hard for your quarterback not to be a captain and be a leader amongst your team because he has to communicate so much. So, he had to come in and win that job too. I think that gets overshadowed that, that the job was just given to him because he was in the portal. He came in, he won the job, and Chuck says it often, and it's true in sports. The players pick the starters. The players reveal who the best starter position, and that's exactly what he did.
Yep. Other coaches have been here this week, along with Sam Pittman, Mike Elko, Mark Stoops, and Hugh Freeze will be here with Coach Pittman today. We got a chance to listen to Kalen DeBoer and Jeff Lebby yesterday, and one of the things that I thought about in terms of tying it back to Arkansas is Bobby Petrino. And Jeff Lebby was talking about the utilization of the new headsets that Taylor Green will have at his disposal and how he'll work it with Mississippi State quarterback Blake Shapen.
There's going to be this cat and mouse game as you're inside of a game. If you're signaling, if you're not, the 15-second mark, all those things kind of come into play as you're going to call the game.
So this will be the first time, Tommy, that you have the headsets. You've got the two – now, John McDay didn't call it a 2-minute warning. It's called a 2-minute what?
2-minute timeout.
2-minute timeout. Yeah.
They just don't want to copy the NFL.
Yeah.
There's going to be, in a very similar procedure to what we see at the end of the halves in pro football, there will be a 2-minute timeout in college football. So it gives, it gives the teams a chance to reset. It gives the officiating crew a chance to reset The rules on replay and some things change at the end of the half. But let's face it, this is for TV. This is for another commercial break, and this is part of what you gave up at the bargaining table when you signed the last TV rights agreements. When you give the networks a lot of money, they need a little bit more inventory.
Yeah,
when they give you a bunch of money, you got to give them something in exchange. This is what you exchange.
And I think for Bobby Petrino, just that ability that he's never had before, I think it's the first 15 seconds to talk with this quarterback. You get one on each side of the football, so I'm going to guess a linebacker has it for Arkansas's defense with Travis Williams, and then Talon, of course, will have it with Bobby Petrino. Now, there's some coaches you don't necessarily want in your head, but in this case, you do want Bobby Petrino most of the time in your head if you're Talon Green.
All right, the SEC commissioner is going to join us here in just a moment. He's making his way to our table here on Radio Row. That's our SEC update. It's brought to you by Burton Pools and Spas. Cool down with hot deals at Burton Pools and Spas during the clearance event. High-quality above-ground pools installed for just $57 a month. Enjoy up to $1,000 off on in-stock Doughboy above-ground pools. And if you're considering in-ground pools, stunning fiberglass pools starting at under $48,000. It's all at Burton Pools and Spas. They're in Springdale, Fort Smith, and now in Greenland as well. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
It's been a successful first venture in Dallas, Texas for SEC Media Days. Again, all of our coverage can be found on hitthatline.com or Hit That Line Podcast Network. Just search Hit That Line as we welcome in the commissioner. This was a possibility just a few years ago. You'd mentioned trying to set it up in 2018, and now being at your, not that you didn't have it at your disposal with College Station and Texas A&M in the league, but you've got two more markets that are heavily SEC alums in Dallas.
Absolutely, and that was why on our mind really back in 2016-17 as I introduced the concept of moving media days around a bit. Dallas was at or near the top of our destination list. We weren't able to make it work then, and we were still working through when could we come to the Dallas area. Houston was on our mind as well. And as expansion started to bubble after COVID, we just said, let's wait on a Dallas or Houston consideration, it being Dallas here, until we know the entry date once we had made the invitation. And we stayed nimble, and I think it's been a really good week. We've brought some people in who aren't normally here, particularly from Texas. I think Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma media markets represented in solid numbers. And then a lot of familiar faces who've come from a long way. I just left the South Carolina radio station, the second of two that I've been on. So that's what we're trying to do, is spread the word, bring people in.
What's the value to the league of this event? I mean, obviously, y'all invest a lot. You put on a good event for 4 days. You obviously find value in it, or you wouldn't continue to do it at this scale.
That's right. We do find value, and if you take a step back, if we didn't have this, there'd be local talk about the coming football season. It wouldn't be connected, and it wouldn't be national. And what we create is a connection, so the ability for those of you in Arkansas to talk with people from different markets, maybe different coaches, maybe some players that you might not normally contact. The same thing happens across the realm, and then we bring in the national platform. So last night we had a wrap-up show that was on the SEC network. That's normal, but it was also on ESPN too. And we've created broader distribution platforms with our ESPN partners through this. We kind of look at this, if you spend $1 to support it, you probably get $50 in return just from exposure. And it gives us the chance to really dominate a week, even during the Major League Baseball All-Star game that happened to be here around the college football landscape, and that's important for us.
Greg Sankey, commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, with us on the Morning Rush. One of the noticeable differences already for this football season, in addition to Texas and OU, is the way your staff went about announcing game times, or at least day part times for games. Where did that idea begin, and kind of walk us through the process of that new piece to the scheduling this year in the conference?
So in 2016, we were looking ahead to 2024, actually, 8 years later, in the conclusion of our CBS contract, and how do we prepare? There was a 2-year lead up from a thinking and evaluation and talking with media members. I have 2 pages of corporate leaders. It was really pretty interesting for me. And then we went to our schools and said, what's important for you? And the kickoff time notice was one. We're going to have early kicks. That's just reality. And so as we talk to potential media partners, ESPN and ABC were the best about saying, you know what, we can approach this a different way. Instead of holding everything for like 12 and 6-day notices, we can get ahead of this. So let's get ahead of this. And what you've seen this year as a result of moving everything together, everybody knows if they're playing early and when they're playing early for the entire season. There's actually some there's some kick time variants. It may be 11 Central, but we could go as late as 11:45, just a little bit more room. But right now you can plan to come in on Friday night, make some plans, enjoy a good meal in your local community. And then we have afternoon and evening time, some of which are set, waiting on the exact network, and some which could flip between afternoon and prime time. And that's just a matter of a couple of hours. And it's a much healthier way to conduct business. It's actually all about drawing fans in and making that preparation and planning a bit easier than what we've had in the past few decades.
We know of the existing partnerships with ESPN and the distribution channels there with ESPN2 and so forth, SEC Network. Now with Texas being here, the Longhorn Network going away, is there a need or an appetite for maybe an SEC2 or particularly with sports beyond football to have the ability to put more baseball, more softball, more events on in linear TV?
Well, the digital world is upon us, and part of the relationship with Disney that's important is they have broadcast with ABC, they have satellite cable, which is ESPN, ESPN2, and then they have a digital infrastructure that's second to none. And we have watched over time the consumption via their digital product from ESPN Plus just accelerate. And it used to be, 8-9 years ago, we would receive feedback from fans if a baseball game was on the digital platform, we'd have a bunch of complaints. We don't hear anything now about football games being on digital, and so that allows portability. You can put it right on your TV in a seamless way. People are subscribing to YouTube TV, which is delivered over the internet rather than an antenna or cable or satellite, and so we're accustomed to that delivery mechanism, and that becomes the platform that creates the broad access and the ability to distribute, and really does not support creating like SEC Network 2. In fact, we've taken the alternate channel away because of the digital opportunities that exist.
Commissioner Greg Sankey with us. We had a chance to catch up with Lieutenant General Richard Clark, and it was interesting to hear him kind of as he steps in Bill Hancock's shoes, what that's going to look like. What is an actual realistic number that the SEC could see in the first edition of the 12-team college football playoff?
Well, I don't know is the answer. I can go back and look over history, and if you look at our current membership, 5 of those were in the top, the 12 configuration based upon who gets in and who's out. Oklahoma would have been the first team out, so that tells you 5 or 6. I don't think you want to set a number. I think we're really interested to see how the College Football Playoff Selection Committee will make its decisions. Over time, 3, 4, 5 is not an unreasonable expectation, but I don't think we can set a number because every season's different. We have no idea. Last year as we sat here, did we expect Missouri to be in the top 10? We expected them to be better, but they had an outstanding season, finished with a win over Ohio State, and they would have been in a 12-team playoff. And so I think you have to let the season play out. Some of it's looking backwards, and as it relates to our scheduling decisions, we want to go through this year as a single division, 8-game, 16-team conference, learn from that, look at what happens in college football playoff selection decision-making, and learn from that as we look to the next year and making decisions about our schedule format for 26 and beyond.
I wish we had longer, but is revenue sharing the biggest challenge next for you and these schools?
I think broader than that, part of it is this opportunity for revenue to flow to the participants. But, how we deal with the legal environment and the legislative environment, that is the biggest challenge. That has drawn the focus away from what used to be like the day-to-day work, and you spend a lot more time on legal and legislative issues than I really ever imagined.
Well, thanks for putting on a great event to you and your staff, and we look forward to being back next year.
Thank you. It's great to have you here, and I look forward to the season ahead.
Greg Sankey, Commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, with us here on Radio Row.
All right, that's going to do it for us here on a Thursday. For Tommy Kraft, Chuck Barrett, and Commissioner Sankey, and everyone else we've had on today, Coach Pittman as well, Ty Richardson, enjoyed it. We'll be back at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
This is Elizabeth, and we're with the Stadium Shop on Razorback.
The only local, family, and alumni